This week in gaming news, Xbox had a gaming showcase, and the games they showed were Halo, some more Halo, a little bit more Halo, and Phil Spencer opened with wearing a Halo shirt and proceeded to talk about Halo some more. We next learned that Fable is not dead, but the Lionhead Studios is. And then we learned that we have until July 27th to enjoy and download over 71 demos for the Xbox Game Summerfest. That is, if we can ever find where to download them. All that and more on this week's episode of the We Love Gaming podcast. Let's get into it.
I love gaming.
All right, and welcome back to the We Love Gaming podcast. I'm Godly Sovereign, and today, as always, I have Markariah and Sirknight with me. How was you guys' weekend?
Mine's been good, man. I've been playing a lot of that Ghost of Tsushima, trying to get into that game, trying to delve myself into it.
Right.
I had some hesitations at first because there was something that I didn't like, but as I'm playing more and more and more of the game, like getting some of the cool armor pieces,
Yeah, some
is
of that
really,
gear.
is really exciting me. So I'm starting to really enjoy it. So really just been playing lots of Ghost of Tsushima, man.
Right, yeah. What about you?
I've been playing a little bit of Smite. They recently released a new battle pass, and it's featuring Avatar: The Last Airbender. So it's a cool collaboration.
That's cool. That is cool.
So they released Aang, Korra. So it's cool that there's some characters. I like that show. My wife introduced me to it. So I've been playing some of that, as well as I still play a little EverQuest. So shout out to anyone who still plays that game.
That's right.
I like old school MMOs.
Man.
So what about you, Godly Sovereign? What you been playing?
So I just finished The Last of Us 2 finally. So I got to the end of that and everything. So review coming very soon.
Review incoming.
And then I kicked back into Ghost of Tsushima. So I enjoy playing it, but we're gonna have a review on that soon as well.
Yep.
So you guys stay tuned for that. But did you guys catch the Xbox showcase?
Yes, we did.
Heck yeah.
Okay, so the first game was Halo Infinite.
Yep.
In the opening. So what did you guys think of that, Markariah?
I thought it opened strong. Arguably, in my opinion, one of the best games, most iconic game that Xbox has. So they started it right. They started on a high note.
Right.
But just briefly talking about my first impressions, I like that this is going to be an open world game. They have a new feature of the map. You can see, this vast map, which is, we didn't have a map like that in previous games. I like that there's like some new abilities, but they're consumable abilities. They're not like at will abilities on other games, because I didn't really like before you can just activate these abilities. I think in Reach and later they started activating all these abilities, making it feel kind of like a Call of Duty or other games.
Okay.
But they use like grappling hooks, but it was consumable. So he was pulling in enemies, pulling in items. So,
I think I did see that.
so that was a consumable item to make it balanced. You could either use that or grenades. So I kind of liked that feature to it. I saw a couple new weapons, which I thought was cool. I saw some old weapons in there too. So I'm really hyped for this game. I think this will, bring, this will be a great way to start next gen.
Yeah,
with
for sure.
A good Halo game. So what do you think, Sirknight?
Yeah, I really liked what I saw too. Like for me, it reminded me of kind of going back to their roots. It looked a lot like the original Halo, right? Like you're back on the ring. It has all the same scenery, and look as the original Halo. The gunplay looked really smooth, really exciting, and really fun. I mean, Halo is their one game, right? Their master class game they got, and so they showed off a lot of it. I was excited about it. I thought the graphics were a little subpar, considering this is on the Series X, because I was kind of going back and checking out Halo 5. And I thought the graphics on Halo 5 are actually a little better than Halo Infinite.
Yeah, one thing to consider too is, were you watching it like on a 4K display? And were you watching the stream? Was the stream in 4K?
I don't remember if the stream was in 4K
I think
or
that
not.
may be a bottleneck of it as well. Because I know I said the same thing.
Right.
And the IGN footage that I was watching was only 1080. So I didn't watch a 4K stream, and that may contribute to it.
Yeah, I was thinking that it was possibly because it's open world now, where in Halo 5 it's level designed, so you can be a little bit more intense with the graph. Yeah, you had maps and stuff to go along. but this is open world, and so it's way harder to be a graphically intense game with an open world. But I loved that shot when they jumped into the air and you got like the scenery of like the whole landscape. That was exciting.
So I'm gonna have to go against you on that one, stating that it's hard to make it like how to make it graphically beautiful in an open world, because we got games like Ghost of Tsushima, that does that easily.
Yeah, but see, Ghost of Tsushima does not look as good as The Last of Us 2. Because The Last of Us 2 has less. They have less.
A little bit more detail in certain areas and stuff like that.
Right.
Because you have
exactly.
A map. Yeah.
Like Ghost of Tsushima, it's beautiful, but it is also very copy and paste. You see hundreds of the same tree. Every building's the same. The flowers. It's a very copy and paste, although it's beautiful.
Okay.
Where The Last of Us 2, it's like intense detail. And I think that's just the nature of open world. They can't make every part of the open world detailed, because that would take 100 years, right? To finish that game.
Hopefully PS5, Series
PS5.
X maybe.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that might be part of the bottleneck too, is just the simple fact that it's an open world. It does look good though. Like, it looks great, and it's going to be in 60 frames per second. So I'm excited about that. And I'm excited they went back to their roots. And this open world thing, that's the new twist for me. That is really the hook. So I know you were excited.
Yeah, so do you think that this is going to be a gateway to them making a Halo Battle Royale, because it's an open map? Do you think that's going to be a mod down the road?
No. Oh my gosh, dude. I mean,
it could be.
Why not? I'm sure they will dabble in that,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I agree with it, but I'm sure they will dabble with it. I don't know. Sometimes, I don't know. Let me get your opinion. Do you think Battle Royales hurt a brand at all? Like, if they have an established brand and then they tack on a Battle Royale, does that hurt the brand at all? Or is
No, I think it's complementary, because it brings people to the brand. So let's say someone has never played Halo, but they love Fortnite, they love Call of Duty Warzone's PUBG. They're like, oh, let me give this a try, So I think if they do it right, it's a good way to bring people to the brand.
Okay.
Also, I kind of feel like if they weren't, if the game isn't focused solely on that, you know what I mean? It's something they added, like for instance, Uncharted, right? You have Uncharted, it's just a one person game, and then they add multiplayer to it.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's just something extra. People loved it. Some people hated it.
Right.
But
it hurt the brand. I
never cared about it, right? So if I really wanted to play it, I would check it out. But if I could give two craps, as long as you make the main game the more important feature, and you're like, oh, this was like something that was thrown in, maybe they had like 10 guys work on this part, but they had like all 150 employees working on this. You know what I mean? I don't really care. It doesn't really matter to me.
Right. I think that's where I would agree with you. Is if it's a single player game and they add the multiplayer or battle royale, and that becomes the focus, like what you're saying, then I think it hurts the brand.
If it changes the direction.
Yeah, it changes the direction. But if it's just like an addition, then I can see what Mark is saying, where it helps the brand. But I worry sometimes that they're so concerned about like the profit and the money that they end up changing direction, and it ends up hurting the brand a little bit. Like, I would never want Uncharted to become that, right? I want Uncharted to be what Uncharted is. And maybe some people would like it, but I think it might hurt the brand with some people. But it could be fun. I mean, Halo's a great game. It could be a lot of fun.
It's just something that came to mind when I thought open world. I was like, it's probably easy. I'm not going to say easy to implement, but it's there if it's an open map.
It's a good point.
So
it's a good point. Would not be surprised.
I mean, for me, Halo Infinite, right? The last time that I've played Halo, I played Halo 3, but I didn't really enjoy it that much.
Really?
So since Halo 2, I haven't been a big fan of Halo. I didn't play Halo Reach. I didn't play any of the other ones just because at that point, Xbox didn't interest me enough with just Halo to like go out and, and do something else. And Halo by itself just didn't interest me much. But when I watched the gameplay reveal, this Xbox showcase on Halo Infinite, I felt really lackluster. Like, I felt like it's like, damn, I've seen this before. Like, we're still riding around in the same cars that was in Halo 1 and 2, and that's years ago. But I still remember those cars, those vehicles, and you did nothing to like modify its look or anything like that. It just seems like you took like the old skin and just threw it in there. It was like, yeah, this will work. And then being on that world, like the ring, right, the planet, it looked like the previous maps that we've been on. I think the
Like
only
us,
thing,
yeah.
the only thing that was different was, the fact that you had a more open world. I don't know how much more open it is. Like, if you're just strictly on this ring planet, or if it's like you start here and then you might move on to somewhere else, or if it's like you start here and then, it's all sectioned and blocked off, or if it's really like you can just roam through it.
No, I'm pretty sure this game is open world now.
So it's just the ring and
yes.
that's it.
Yeah.
So you actually have a map. Like Mark and I were talking as we were watching it together.
Yeah.
Like noticing how you haven't actually have a topical look down map.
Right, I did
which you
notice
never
that.
had that before.
Right.
So this is gonna be more like The Witcher, more like Ghost of Tsushima. It's gonna be an open world to explore. And so I was just like you. I was disappointed too when I was watching because it felt like this is just like a reboot. I feel like this is a reboot of what
It's a remake of Halo 1. What are we doing?
Yeah, Halo 1. That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
But then when I started, the open world aspect is going to be more like RPG with elements and stuff that you collect. I was like, okay, maybe I can get out. Maybe this is exciting now.
Yeah, but so I guess for me, I'm not quite sold just yet.
Okay.
Okay. Just making Halo 1 multiplayer does not I'm there for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I definitely have to see more. I saw maybe 1 or 2 new vehicles. I think at least for me, the circular car or vehicle that he was in where he was shooting and stuff like that, that one was new to me. But I feel like you still had the same little pissant minions that you always are shooting and killing.
Same guys, yeah.
And you had the only thing that was different
Yeah.
was that they had added 1 or 2 vehicles, a couple of mechanics for fighting, and then they added a different type of boss or a new enemy. They threw a new enemy in. But I mean, that's just me. I could be a harder critic on Halo Infinite because of how I could care less about it. But I'm definitely willing to see more. I just need to see something to pull me in, and I'm not in there yet.
I think they probably were conservative with some of adding all this new stuff because when they added so many new mechanics to reach, that was when I stopped liking Halo as much.
Right.
So I feel like it's good that they're adding open world, which is the main attraction to this game, and then taking it back to its roots. I think that's a good combination to kind of rekindle their fans and get new fans, to really enjoy Halo for what it is. Because when Halo Combat Evolved came out, the game was incredible. I didn't have an Xbox at the time. I didn't play consoles because I was a PC gamer my whole life. But I wanted an Xbox solely because that game was incredible.
Yeah, I would like to know the timeline. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. The timeline of this Halo game in comparison to the others, because it felt like a reboot, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
But it just felt that way because it was the same little piston just shooting. It seemed like, okay, we're all the way back to the start. Is this like a more of a reboot of the series, or is this actual chronological that comes next in the series? We're back at the ring
Master
again.
Chief still kicking
right?
it. Is he still
so
going?
I'd be curious to find out, which it probably is chronological, but it would have been cool maybe if they rebooted it and they kind of went back to Combat Evolved.
Yeah, but moving on from
Right.
Halo Infinite, right? They had the announcement of State of Decay 3.
Yeah.
And we just recently played State of Decay 2. I was having some technical issues, with my PC being able to play that with you guys. But how'd you guys feel about it? Sirknight?
State of Decay. We tried giving it a shot together on the We Love Gaming podcast Twitch stream. And I wasn't a fan of it. I dogged on it because I didn't like the multiplayer mechanic of where you just join someone else's world and help them. You don't help yourself or help your settlement.
You have no benefit.
Yeah, you don't. It's just you're joining someone to help them. There's no individual character you are that's joining someone else's State of Decay world and working together to build up both your guys' characters. So I was real disappointed with that. So because of that, State of Decay kind of has a sour taste in my mouth. But I don't feel this was just an announcement trailer. That's all it was. There was no gameplay. There wasn't anything to hook me to bring, especially someone like me who's soured by the series, into the series. I would have liked to have seen something that they're doing with it.
It just lets you know that it's coming.
Yeah, let me. Yeah, all they did was show me it's coming. That wasn't anything for me on this game. I always want gameplay. Like in these reveal streams, they should be showing gameplay. Like a lot of the games did, but every now and again they showed these games with no gameplay, and it's like, what's the point? So that's how I felt.
Yeah, for me, at first I didn't know State of Decay the first couple seconds, and then when I saw obviously the zombified, what kind of animal was it? A deer and elk. So
weird, yeah.
So I didn't see, when I played State of Decay 2, I didn't see any animals that were infected. So that would be cool if this is more of a less like people that are infected, and it's more of like your natural environment, right. And there's bears and there's rats and there's crazy wilderness zombies. So that's kind of that could be a cool spin on it. I don't think I've played a game like that. So I agree with Sirknight, the joining the hosts game, and we all wanted to progress the story together. Right. So now we're gonna have to do it we're going to have to do it multiple times, which is not a bad thing if the gameplay is really fun, which I thought the gameplay was pretty fun. But hopefully they can have a more crisp multiplayer, because it seemed like it's a very old school, traditional.
Very much so.
Like it seems in the new age, you should have a little more tighter multiplayer.
And it's funny because like you mentioned that deer or bear or environment aspect of the game. That's you trying your best to reach for some information, because they didn't give us any.
Much. That's all you saw.
They didn't give us any, so you're like hoping it would be that, but you don't know. They gave us no indication, so we're trying to glean something, and there isn't much to glean.
Yeah, and at the same time, I feel like that was kind of the theme with the Xbox showcase, but we'll get into that later. But anyways, seeing the trailer announcement for State of Decay 3, I thought that it looked good as far as the video footage is, right? It looked good. Yeah. It looked like it might be interesting. I actually didn't mind State of Decay to play it, but it seems like, as you guys are saying, it would be better as a solo game, because the fact that I invest any time in somebody else's base and it doesn't help me doesn't make me want to do that. It makes me want to go, okay, well, you play, and then we'll just be on Discord and we'll just talk to each other.
And if you need help,
we'll
join each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, and if you come across something, we'll hop in
and help you, but then I'm heading back.
Right. So, I mean, that was something that's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't sound interesting at all. But I'm hoping that they can change that, because, I mean, even if they stuck us in like a world that the three of us were in and our characters were saved in that world, but you got to do whatever, maybe like some type of a server or something like that, or like all of our stuff kind of like falls in, maybe they don't have like all the bases in the exact location, kind of do like a Fallout 76 thing where like when you move to a server, like your base jumps to that server in that location, and if it's been taken over by somebody else, it like you just get all your stuff and then you drop it somewhere else.
Kind of like a survival game.
Right. Yeah.
Ark or something.
So, that would be a little bit better, because, I want to invest in my people as well as helping you guys invest in yours.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to improve my base's defenses as well as help you guys' base defenses. So, I mean, even if like we were in, Sirknight's world, me and Markariah, and we're helping you accomplish things, and you're building your base up, but everything that you built up that we had hands with was in my world.
Yeah. Right.
And I can see those differences, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's cool. You know what I mean? Because we all put our funds together, and now we were able to pay for like 30 turrets or something like that. Right. And those 30 turrets are in my world as well. I'm for that.
Yeah, it's like what Mark was saying. Imagine this, audience, right? Like, okay, we're going to play State of Decay. Let's go into Marcus's world. We progress an hour to Marcus's world. Then we come back the next night. Okay, let's go into Marcus's world. Do the exact same content, 2 hours again. Okay, let's go into Sirknight's world. Okay, the exact same content. Like, how dumb is that? Like, that's a major problem. So I'm hoping that issue gets fixed in State of Decay. But we don't know. We got nothing.
And even then, like, maybe you don't have, like, the base aspect and all that stuff. Maybe it's just a storyline, and you've got, your gear and different things. So you're able to improve all your equipment still in somebody else's world and all that. And you're able to survive and stuff. And so it doesn't matter what you did in somebody else's world, because you're just following the storyline. So, you know, it'd be like any other game where as soon as you dropped out, you just continued the storyline, but in your world.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, what I mean? But yeah, so
Yes.
what was the next game?
So
that,
the next
they had
one was
released?
Everwild, produced
Everwild,
by
okay.
Rare.
Okay.
So this one, kind of like State of Decay, we didn't really see
Right.
any gameplay.
Mhm.
And before we get into games more, I wanted to tell our viewers, we normally always pose this question: do we buy this
Right.
game day one, never buy, or buy at some point?
Right.
Because the majority of all of these games are
We'll talk about
from
that,
Microsoft
right.
Studios.
Yeah.
So
We're kind of
because
avoiding
we
that.
will have Game Pass, you know, we're not going to say will we buy it, because these
Right.
will be Game Pass games. So we will try these at some point. So we're not going to put that rating on these games. But going back to Everwild, the style was really awesome. I like, you know, artsy, colorful kind of
Mhm.
games.
Yeah.
There wasn't any gameplay, so that's kind of disappointing, because they can show you the prettiest picture, but we want to see real content.
What am I doing, right?
Yes, because it was from Rare, they released a lot of quality games, so I am hyped for this game. But there's not much for me to say other than it was a nice, beautiful, colorful game. So what do you think, sir?
Yeah, so Everwild, very similar to you. There wasn't a lot of gameplay. I thought it was pretty looking, but with no gameplay, what can I really take from this? So my notes are like, what are we doing? Are we exploring? Are we fixing the forest? Like, what is because I'm just trying to glean what little they show me. Am I doing here? What is here to get me excited about this game? Right? When you watch Spider-Man Miles Morales, you're like, snap, I want to swing around the world. They show me the combat. They show me the fight. That looks fun. What am I doing here? The only saving grace it has, like you said, it's from Rare, which is a tried and true studio.
Yep.
So we can put our trust in Rare, right? But come on, what am I doing? I just don't have a clue what I'm doing.
Yeah, so I mean, when I saw Everwild, I was actually watching something on IGN, some people talking or whatnot, and the guy had mentioned it or whatever. I'd never heard of it before, but I guess it had been mentioned almost like a year or two ago as a game that was coming out, but you just didn't hear anything else about it, so it popped back up.
Right.
But as far as the artwork is concerned, it looks awesome. Like it looks something unique. You know what I mean? It kind of looks like an anime come to life, or some cell shading that's really nice, Borderlands type or something. But as you guys said, we have no gameplay, so there's nothing really to really dwell on. It's like, okay, that's cool, it's something coming out, but I know nothing about it, so that's something that I'll just keep my ear out for. But
it's like Markariah was saying too, like it's the theme.
Yeah.
Or Godly Sovereign, you guys are saying it seems to be the theme of the Xbox showcase to just not show gameplay.
Just giving you little tidbits, like
I don't know what the deal is with that. It's a drop a ball. To me, they dropped the ball in that regard.
Yeah. So one of the games that we forgot to mention before Everwild, right, was Forza Motorsports. So Markariah, what do you think about Forza?
I'm a big Forza fan. I used to play this game with my brother and my dad. We'd customize cars, take them to the track. So for me, I'm a little biased towards the series. So getting into the latest Forza, the game looks incredible. One thing about the Forza is, it was always a realistic game. To me, like Gran Turismo, it was like on that
I was
level.
going to ask you, Mark, since you like Gran Turismo a lot too, and you like Forza, which do you prefer? Is there one you prefer?
So at this point in time, like the Forza series better because of the Horizons. When they started introducing the Horizons open world, I like it because if you went to a track and you did things in the world, it's persistent in my world. So if you're customizing your car when I'm on the road, I see I saw Sirknight customize his car. I see Godly Sovereign, he has a new ride. So I like that feature. It adds a new dynamic that's cool, because these games are very lonely. They're best with others, racing your friend, racing somebody in your house. So it makes it more of a world. So with that being said, I like the Forza a little better.
So it's like, what we wish State of Decay was. That's cool. So you like Forza Business.
Yeah.
That does sound fun. An open world racing does sound fun.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm not a racing guy.
Gotcha.
So I'm not excited. Like, okay, whatever. The cars look pretty.
Yeah.
It looks like the same game over and over and over and over to me. Like whenever they show me a new Forza, I don't see, okay, how is this any different than the last Forza this came out? And like that's my problem. It's like when I see it, my first thought is meh. Like that's my first thought is just meh. There's nothing there to excite me like they just showed the cars. So for me, I just can't get on board. I mean, here's what I'm gonna say. That open world thing does sound cool. And
so that's on the Horizon game. So there's
Okay.
the Forza Motorsports, and then there's the Forza Horizon, which Horizon actually introduced a battle royale. You can have, I think, 75 people racing, and so. But
okay,
so do you guys remember? Was this was I think a motorsport, right?
right. This was a
Okay.
motorsport.
So this is going to be the more traditional like Gran Turismo.
I heard them
style.
talking that they're going to announce Horizon.
Okay.
It's going to be soon. You're going to see that announcement come.
So is
But
Horizon
this one,
like an
this one was
add-on?
motorsport.
It's just a separate. It's just a separate iteration of the game. So
Okay,
it's like the
so
open world. It's
It's
like,
like
a more
Brotherhood.
Open.
Brotherhood.
Yeah, the
what's that?
anime.
Oh,
What is it? Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood? Is it
That's
like
probably a good comparison. Those are pretty different. Those two animes are pretty different. So these are pretty different. So yeah, it's like.
But it was more like a quick version, right? It didn't have fillers and all that other stuff.
Oh,
For, like,
Brotherhood.
Brotherhood, yeah.
Yeah, it was much more action
So
paced.
is that like what
No,
Horizon
this is like a
Much more action,
completely
or?
kind of different way to play it. It's open world,
Yeah.
so it's not just racing.
Okay.
So you're
Alright.
traveling, you're collecting, you're
Mhm.
modifying, upgrading, right? Like it's more RPG open world with cars.
And the original is just
And the
going around the
motorsports are
track.
more of like Gran Turismo style. You're progressing
You
your
collect
car.
cars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why can't we just get another Burnout Paradise or something, man?
I'm the same, dude.
Why can't I just blow some cars up? Like, why do I have to do all of this? With Forza. I understand that it's like beauty and detail.
Right.
It's the racing of 2K. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I understand that there's a desire for it, but I mean,
Yeah,
damn,
but
why can't Burnout Paradise come out again?
Yeah. But I think it's always a good way to showcase the console's
Capabilities.
capability.
Yeah.
Because, racing games are normally realistic. So you're going to see that detail. Games like this, look really nice. So I think it's a smart move for them to release, a Forza with the release of the Series X to see, what you're getting.
And PlayStation is doing the same thing with Gran
Yep.
Turismo, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I get it. And I get that there's an audience for this. Like, I definitely don't want to dog Mark's fun in this game. And I know some people like the Sims, like all sorts of Sims, the
Yeah.
flying Sims, farming Sims. NBA 2K is a basketball sim, right? Forza isn't any different. It's a it's supposed to be a real life simulator.
Yep.
I think along with Garly Savin, I want the more out of this world stuff, the stuff that I can't do in real life. Like
Gotcha.
I want to escape this world, not do the same stuff in the world in a digital world.
Got it.
I want to escape. I'm more of an escapist kind of gamer. I want to go to Norse mythology and play some AC Valhalla. I want to kind of escape into something action adventure out of this world. Burnout Paradise. I loved Burnout Paradise. man.
Right?
Yeah. So even though you guys weren't super hyped for it, did you guys at least like what you saw? Like just in terms of graphics?
Yes. Yes.
Was it?
It
Did
looked
you guys
good.
say that was pretty?
I mean, it
Impressive.
definitely seems like they took time to do the scanning of these vehicles and stuff like that, and try to add like the most pixel density as possible. So I
Yeah.
mean, the world looks lovely. The cars dang near look real. That's how it's gonna be. That's how
Right.
they've been doing it, right?
Yeah.
It looks nice. It looks really nice, but I'm just more so interested in like
I got you.
the storyline, if there was a storyline, or like the gameplay. Like
There's not really a
if I could
storyline,
if
yeah.
I could just be like a race car driver working his way up to a good freaking Ferrari or something
Formula
like
One,
that to be able
I'm
to
trying to make it to Formula One. Or
yeah,
whatever.
if I could do that, I'd probably be in for it a little bit more, because that'd be a bit more entertaining. It's like
Got
a
it.
challenge to do that, but
There's a
it
lot
is
of
what it
RPG
is.
elements that it kind of doesn't really have, unfortunately. It's really just a simulator. Nice cars you can drive. You get to kind of feel the handling. It's what it is. I mean, that's people that like that. It's not for me, but people that like that.
Yeah, but
back on track.
Speaking of Sims, right? Tell me more about Tell Me Why.
Tell me why.
Yeah.
What did you feel, Mark?
So tell me why. Yet again, we didn't see gameplay,
Uh-huh.
but to give this game some credit, Sirknight was telling me that the studio that created Tell Me Why was some of the developers is Life is Strange. So he could touch on that, when he gives his input. So I say this game has a lot of potential. With that being said, what we saw nice graphics. It's going to be a narrative style storytelling dramatic experience. For me, like when the little boy was running in the forest and he trips, it had me in some suspenseful times. But I need to see a little bit more, because these type of games are just a dime a dozen to me. And unless there's something like Life is Strange, something that's a little extra that gives it a new dimension, I am not really interested.
Yeah. When I first saw it, I was like, dang, this looks like the artwork or the graphic direction as Life is Strange. Is this just a Life is Strange copycat? And that's when we looked it up, and sure enough, it's from the people who made Life is Strange, which that helps it.
Yes.
Because when I first saw this trailer, I was like, I'm sorry. Okay, it had the same effect on me as the original Life is Strange trailer had on me. Remember, I was telling you when we talked about Life is Strange in a past podcast, I never got on board originally because there wasn't anything there to grip me in.
It wasn't.
But once I played it and I saw the mechanic, and I kind of spoiled the mechanic for you, Godly Sovereign, but when I found out the mechanic, I was like, dude, this is sweet. This is really neat, really cool. And it's like you said, Markariah, we were talking about it yesterday. You're like, oh, because it's by Life is Strange, there's going to be some mechanic. And they don't like to reveal that mechanic in their trailers. And I think that might be to their detriment because it doesn't hook enough in. But once you play it, I think there's going to be some cool mechanic involved with this game that we're all going to be like, that's dope. That's really fun. And we're going to like it. Yeah. But just the straight going, trailer they gave us, it wasn't enough at all for me.
Yeah. And, you guys played Life is Strange. I never played it. So I'm not too familiar with everything that was going on in those games, except from the little tidbits that you guys showed me.
Right.
But the moment that I looked at this trailer, I thought it was like Sims, like going out on their own. You know what I mean? It seemed like it was a story that they just used Sims characters, to be a little bit more detailed or something. And it to me it looked weird because it looked like. I mean, this is probably like pre-alpha, footage or something like that, right? They probably still have a lot more work to do, but everything about it just seemed like it was like The Sims. Like I felt like there should have been like a green diamond above their heads.
That's funny.
Or whatever while they were talking. So, there was certain, the camera scenes or whatever, it looked like, there was like a ghost aura around them, different things like that didn't make it appealing to me or make me desire to want to play it or even find out more about it. Like, why do I care about this girl and this boy and their relationship, whatever they got going on?
Yeah.
So maybe I'm just off on it, and I do need to check it out just because there may be some hidden details in it that I can't glean from just this trailer, right? So, but I might have to just wait for you two to play it and then to fill me in on it later.
Like, the one thing I can say about it is it's a little bit more than like Erica. We talked about Erica for the PS Plus of July last podcast, where it's just interactive, where you just yes, no, pick a phrase. There's going to be, I think we can rest assured knowing that there's going to be some mechanic here, some game mechanic that we're playing, right? And so, but you're right. I think we're going to have to wait to jump in and see, and you're not going to take that risk.
Yeah. I'm definitely not jumping in. I might dip a toe in to see if the water's warm, but other than that, yeah. But moving on from Tell Me Why, we had Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Will of the Wisps. So Markariah, what do you think about that? Like, how'd you feel?
So, I at first thought this was a new game. But it's my understanding that this is just an enhancement for the latest generation. So this game, you'll be able to play 120 FPS. So if anyone has a 4K 120 hertz display, this game is going to be the game for you. I personally don't have a lot of experience with this franchise. I know Sirknight, has a lot to say about these games. But I think, this game in 120 hertz is enough for me to try it. It's the first game that I heard so far that we're going to be able to play 120 hertz. So I that's enough for me.
They
to
might
try
have
it
that
out.
category on lock.
Yeah, for me, oh my gosh, the moment I heard that music, I got chills. That Ori, oh my gosh, it's so haunting and beautiful, and like I love the series so much that it's like, no way. Like, so I got like bated breath, like, is there gonna be a third one? You know, like I got really pumped. And so when it was such a letdown to see that it was just a remaster. I was like, oh my god, that's
You're
just
like,
a remaster, man. What a tease, dude. Like, why X? What are you? Come on, like it frustrates me. Like they're doing things to try to pull you in, and then they just like it doesn't
do
meet
a
any
U-turn.
expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's so gimmicky, and so like because of that, like okay, they're brilliant. They're to me. Ori and the Blind Forest, the original, is a 10. I would give Will o' the Wisp probably a 9.5. Like,
Wow.
they're incredible. And the music is incredible. Like, I have the soundtrack playing in my car, right? Like, it just, the moment I heard it, my heart, like I said, dropped. And I got chills. No, because I was so, oh my gosh, seriously? Moon? They're going to play another game's coming out? I couldn't, and then I got let down. So that's kind of like how I feel about it. Those, you guys haven't played it, this is like day one Game Pass, right? The moment that you can get it on Game Pass, you better download this and play. I'm not kidding. You're going to freaking love the heck out of it, dude. It's incredible. I can't say enough good about it.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating.
I mean, when I saw the trailer and everything, I remembered recalling seeing some images from that game, or at least that series or whatnot. And I remembered that blue creature or whatever it is,
Yeah.
going through this world. And I felt like that was a good look. I thought it was a new one or whatnot because I didn't even know anything much about the series, as it
Right.
was. But I always thought that the colors and the art design on it looked beautiful.
It is.
The only reason that I didn't play it is because, and I don't know, but I just assumed that it was only for the Xbox.
It is.
So,
It actually is on Switch.
oh, okay.
You can get
so
the original on Switch, not
I
Will o' the
would
Wisp yet.
probably dare never touch it on the Switch because I don't think that it would be able to give me the graphical output that was designed,
For
it was
Xbox.
designed for. So I wouldn't even touch it on the Switch. I would just wait. But yeah, so because I don't have an Xbox One, I never even, got a chance to dabble with it or anything like that. But it does look like something that I would play. And due to the current circumstances of what's been announced, I will give it a try. For sure.
Yeah,
It's
Ori's-
something that I want to
Ori's
play.
so good that if you can catch an Xbox on sale for the low, it'd be worth buying just to play those two games.
You think it's console purchase
It's
worthy?
console. I said on the low.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't go out and buy like a brand new in
Right.
the store retail Xbox to play these. I wouldn't do that.
So-
but if like you had like a family member who's like, hey, I'm trying to cop this Xbox from you for $100 so like, you know what? I'll do that because I really wanted to play the Ori games, or I really wanted to play the Gears. The Oris though are worth it.
So you'll drop like 140 on like the OG Xbox One, not the 1S,
Yeah.
but you drop like
Just to
140
play
on the
Ori
OG.
in the
one.
Blind Forest. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, moving on from the upgraded Ori, edition
Yeah,
that came out.
disappointment.
They also announced Outer Worlds DLC.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna start that one off, right? So, I loved Outer Worlds. I played it for the PS5. I thought it was a refreshing kind of not refreshing as I hadn't seen it before, but I felt that it was much needed after getting what we got from Fallout 76. Originally, like I felt like this was missing, and they filled that void.
Right.
So I enjoyed playing every minute of it. And it brought me back to playing Fallout New Vegas and, and all the other Fallout series and whatnot. But the fact that they have it as DLC, I don't know if this is strictly for the Xbox. I believe it is because Xbox has purchased Obsidian. So therefore, I would deem that why the heck would they give that to PlayStation 5, right? Unless maybe they're doing it just because it was already an IP that was available on the PS5.
That's why I think
so why
they
not
would.
get money for
That's
it?
why I think they would.
So,
yeah.
with this announcement, I'm excited for the DLC. You know what I mean? I hope it's, a cool, couple of hours of like miscellaneous, missions or whatever, quests to do, because I just liked being in that world, and I feel like there was more that could have been touched on it that I didn't get to. Just because they didn't have things available in certain areas or whatever. They left it more for like the exploration factor on it. But again, they didn't really show too much as far as like gameplay going on in it. They just gave us an Outer Worlds trailer. Yeah. And just knowing what I experienced in Outer Worlds, I already, can anticipate that this would be good.
You're just excited for new content.
Yeah. I'm just excited to play more.
New content. Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I'm looking forward to it. This is, I believe, it's going to be on the Game Pass. So, if I decide to wait, then, it's up in the air. I'm not sure, but I might want to, depending on the price, I might want to hop on it on PS5, just because or PS4, because I don't want to wait. It just depends on when it's going to come out. Yeah. Right. But
have you played Outer Worlds?
Yeah. So this was actually one of the first games I ever downloaded on Game Pass. Marcus, as well as my uncle, recommended Outer Worlds, so it was one of the first games I downloaded. I think I downloaded at the wrong time because I downloaded literally 3 or 4 games. I tried this one first and I went to something else. I do like this game. I do like, you build up your stats on your character. I always like, customizations, leveling up. I need to give it another chance and another playthrough. So let me ask you this. In the trailer, I really like that character with like a big dome head. Was he?
That's a mask.
Yeah, it's literally just a piece.
You can put on. Piece of gear you can put on.
So was that in the current game?
You can collect those in the current game.
Because I was like, is that a character? I thought that was a cool looking thing.
Yeah, it's just funny. Yeah. See, Outer Worlds is made by Obsidian, and Obsidian made Fallout New Vegas.
Gotcha.
And so they really did absolutely great job translating Bethesda's formula of Fallout without being Bethesda. Somehow they did the Bethesda's job just as good as Bethesda does, and some even considered even better, because for some people, New Vegas is their favorite Fallout. Fallout 3 is my favorite, right? But New Vegas would be runner-up. Like, I think Fallout 3
was the first one in that format, right?
Yeah, in that format.
Is that why? Just like bringing it back or something? Like,
there's some memorable things, man, in that game that I just think were downright incredible that I'll never forget. Yeah. Where Vegas had some of that, but not quite as much.
Okay.
But they did such a, I don't know, they just did a great job duplicating that formula. And then, and so when Fallout, 76 came out, like Marcus was saying, Bethesda was making Fallout 76, and so we're hype. We are hype.
We were ready.
We were ready. I mean, so ready.
That was gonna be a day one buy.
It was. That was like
when we were hearing about it and they were introducing it, and then it just.
Because Marcus and I are Fallout nuts, right? Like, we spend every hour, we scourge every corner of the wasteland, right? Right. And it ended up being a dud. We all know what the dud it was, and so I agree with Marcus. I wasn't expecting Outer Worlds to be as good as it was. Really? To me, it exceeded my expectations. I was expecting a good game, but it's a 9.5. Like, it's an amazing game. Wow. It's not a masterpiece. There are some flaws. I think the weapons could be a little bit more fun to play and use.
I felt like the gear could have used
something extra. But man, did they nail the dialogue. They nailed the way the characters acted.
The little side stories with your extra characters and stuff
are like so fun. They nailed everything good about Fallout. They kind of nailed, except maybe like the customizable stuff. They didn't quite nail that as well. Gotcha. So this is sick. Like, yeah, I'm like Godly Sovereign. I played Outer Worlds on PS4, so I would have to start over again on the Xbox, but it might be worth it to do this DLC.
Yeah. I mean, it would be more so worth it if I could just go and do the DLC and it wasn't like, a part of the story or anything like that.
Yes,
that where I needed to have like my levels and all that stuff.
Kind of like First Light, right? Like Infamous First Light.
Yeah. Gotcha. So sliding from Outer World, right, and going Grounded.
Yes.
Yeah. So personally, this is the game that I'm hyped for. It's also by Obsidian.
All right.
So I like the trailer that was very humorous because it was like, made by Obsidian. We don't normally make these kind of games. So it was very humorous, and I think that goes to like with this game, like its theme. But pretty much for those that didn't watch the trailer, Grounded it takes place like in somebody's backyard. Think of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. So, but it's a survival, crafting, role playing kind of game, but it has that nice storytelling vibes to it. So I think that's what's going to separate this from other games that they said that there's a strong way of telling the story. So it's going to have, you're doing things for purpose.
So would you compare this to like Ark Survival? Is it in that vein of game?
I think so. It's like art, survival, Rust in the crafting sense, because they showed, you have your like kind of Minecraft did it with your bar, you're collecting on your resources, and then similar, if you played Fortnite when you're building things, it has that you're building your little base. So
yes, the base building.
So it just has a lot of cool features. I liked when you're first person. It kind of reminded me of like a reskin of Skyrim kind of thing because you're swinging your sword, fighting giant ants. So I'm really hyped for this. You can play it solo, or you can play with up to 4 people, or a party of 4. So I think this is a cool game to play with friends. Mm-hmm. I think this will have a lot of replayability because there's crafting, there's building. So the sky's the limit.
I wasn't sold. You're getting me a little more excited about it, and it's gonna be exciting to play with friends. But I wasn't sold. Like it was a little laughable to me. It felt low budget. In my mind, watching it felt a little low budget. The saving grace was it was by Obsidian Games, which that helps it a whole lot. I gotta kind of trust it. Like I said, Outer Worlds exceeded my expectations. I was gonna get Outer Worlds, but I was expecting around an 8. I wasn't expecting a 9.5 level game. It exceeded my expectations. So I'll trust Obsidian, and I'll try it out because I do trust their development team. But when I first saw it, it wasn't as bad as Bug Snacks. But my first thought was like, this is just kind of like a low budget, kind of like lame looking game. That's just how I saw it. I didn't see a whole lot there for me to get excited about. But survival, playing with your friends and surviving, I see some qualities there, and Mark is getting me a little more excited.
Yeah, man. I was like nowhere on your level when I saw it. When I looked at it, I was like, dude, this just looks like a fun BS game to mess around with the We Love Gaming podcast crew. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh shoot, this is obviously multiplayer, and it just looks like foolishness. Like you're sitting there fighting ants and spiders and other things like that. It looks like you probably should be able to have some degree of customization for your character, you know, being a little kid or whatnot. The fact that you're able to build these these buildings and stuff like that kind of remind me of, the stuff that they added with Fallout 76 and everything. So it's interesting to see, like, how you're going to be able to forage for the leaves and twigs to build your, your house and stuff like that. But I just thought that it would be something that's lighthearted and easy and, or not easy, but, just simple to hop in and just play with my buds. So, I can just spend, a couple of hours just, BSing in this backyard scenario or whatever, and have some fun with it. And hopefully we get some kind of a quirky little story, going along with it, or some little things that we can add in.
A lot of it is like my perspective on games, right? Like I've been delved into Skyrims, into Knights of the Republic, The Last of Us, Uncharted, all these really high quality games. And so when I see a game like this pop on the screen, it just feels super low key to me, right? Like this doesn't feel exciting from my perspective, right? Like you guys are looking at it from different perspectives. What's exciting to you is friends, playing with friends, right? That's not usually my initial impression when I watch a game. Like I'm looking like Halo, wow. Like I'm looking for like the eye-opening, eye-popping experience, right? And that's what I mean by it was lackluster. It just fell flat. That's what I mean.
Yeah, for me, I really liked the setting of the game. That really hyped me up. I just liked, playing, like I said, the Honey That Shrunk the Kids. Like you get to play that. Right. So that is awesome. That was one of my favorite movies as a kid. So I think this appeals to the generation that grew up playing Minecraft as well as the older people now. Who I think this would be cool to play with your family and friends. But I think the Obsidian portion is the cherry on top. This will separate it from other games because it may have a nice story. It may have some features that other games that look like this may not have.
And that's what I'm hoping.
So,
and then it would really be great.
And it's coming out next week on the 28th. So this is definitely
wow.
a game that, we'll probably be streaming.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, if I can get something to play it on proper, you know what I mean? I'm definitely on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just kind of gave me like a Recess meets Honey, I Shrunk the Kids kind of vibe. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm willing to give it a good try just because it just seems like something that I can just, BS in. It's something I don't have to take serious. You know what I mean? It's something I can just have some fun in.
Right.
That's all. So, yeah, I'm just looking forward to be able to mess around with something. All right, so moving on, right? The next game that was introduced or shown was Avowed.
Another Obsidian game.
Right, another one. So I mean, they're obviously busy, right?
Yep.
So
Right.
How do we feel about that?
So it gave me the Skyrim vibes. There wasn't too much to go off of. The guy was kind of dual wielding magic in one hand and the sword in the other. So I thought that was cool. But it was cool, the arrow was shooting the skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
I like the medieval fantasy setting. But man, it's a bummer. I wanted to see more. I really
agree.
wanted to see some actual gameplay of this.
Right.
We saw gameplay from, the Outer Worlds Gorgon. We saw not some from Grounded. But yeah, I
Saw
just
a
wish,
little bit from Grounded.
Yeah, we saw a
Yeah.
little bit, yeah. But I just wish there's something there because I think this has a lot of potential. But it looked good. So I think this is definitely a game that'll be on my radar. What about you,
See,
Sirknight?
this is what I'm talking about, right? Like, this is when I watch. Okay, now I'm excited.
Now you're interested.
Yeah,
Okay,
now I'm
okay,
interested, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is the epic, awesome looking powers, adventure, might and magic, open world, and I'm a big, Obsidian, RPG fan, with the, Dragon Ages and stuff. Like, they're really something else with their RPGs.
Right.
That's why they said, and yes, we are working on that big open world RPG because that's all what we're all waiting for, right? And so, yeah, this pumped me, got me excited. This is what I look for. This is what excites me, right? This is, like I said, I gave my little explanation about why. But I agree with Markariah. There was no gameplay.
Yeah.
It's that recurring theme here of they show us, we have a game idea,
But that's about it.
but that's all they give us.
I feel like they tricked us because for a second, I thought we were going to see gameplay.
When he was whipping that spell up and he got his hand ready and then he got his sword out.
Yes. I
and
was like,
then it
here
just
we go.
stops, right?
Here we go.
That's it. You got to see how he puts it in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so watching this, right? The first thing I was thinking was like, damn, this looks like Elder Scrolls or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how many people from
Definitely.
Bethesda did Obsidian poach to make these games, right? Because
Right.
we got, they've done Outer Worlds, which was definitely a copy
New
of some
Vegas.
sort that was modified from Fallout. And then, and you have this, which is, it looks like something that's modified from Elder Scrolls. It kind of gives you that same feeling. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? The same layout with, your left hand with magic powers and your right hand with the sword.
Yep.
You know what I mean? In the first person perspective. So, regardless, right? I'm still excited for it, because
totally.
this is something that I want, where regardless if it was Obsidian or Bethesda, if they're giving me something that's Elder Scrolls like, a new edition, I want in.
That RPG formula is
Right.
great.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, that whole, explore as much as you want, interact with the world as much as you want, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm interested to see more. I hope that's what it is. You know what I mean? So, like once again, as you guys are saying, we didn't see any gameplay of any sorts.
Right.
We just saw a bunch of images taken in this world, a couple of videos or whatever that were poached from the process. But, it's just, letting us know, hey, it's here, look out for it. I don't think in any of these I actually saw like a date or like a coming soon fall or holiday, right? I mean, the PS5, they gave us like kind of like suggested times as to when they would be out, like this holiday,
That's
2020 or whatever. But we'll get into that in a different a different episode or whatever. But
It's like I was kind of mentioning, Xbox, it seems like they don't really have games, and they're just now jumping.
They're trying to figure it out.
They're trying to figure it out. Like they know people want.
This?
Yeah, how do we get games but we don't have any? Well, we have to at least tell the audience that we have someone working on, and like that's the best they can do because they're working from behind. PlayStation is light years ahead of them on games.
Yeah,
but they're trying, and so I appreciate them trying, but they're just way behind in that realm.
Yeah. As far as the Obsidian games that they announced, they said the Gorgon DLC is coming out in September.
Okay.
They said Grounded's coming out next week.
Right.
So this is the only one in their defense that they didn't
get, right.
from
Obsidian.
From
themselves.
Obsidian,
right.
Yeah. So
they're really showcasing Obsidian though. They're real proud of that studio purchase. Right?
I mean, Obsidian.
It's
Obsidian
a great studio.
puts in some work.
It's a great studio.
So,
yeah.
So I'm glad that they're definitely there's a couple of options, and it seems like they're kind of covering, a good array.
Yeah.
Of stuff. If you didn't like Outer Worlds, you might like Grounded. Yeah. And if you don't really, if Grounded's not your cup of tea, we have this new one out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to staying in the loop on things and find out what more stuff they can show us. I don't really care for like when they do like screenshots in the world, but I just want to see some little gameplay.
Same.
Even if you just go through like the layout.
But I'm excited
on the inside. But yeah,
like this is excitement for me.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. So it's just one of those things.
Moving on to one we aren't really looking forward to, As Dusk Falls.
Right.
What do you think of that, Stone?
So, when I was looking at this, I was thinking like, okay, maybe this is like some type of variation of like a Telltale game or something.
Right.
It just was like scene after scene after scene of artwork, and the artwork looked nice. They gave me like watercolor vibes, like a painter was painting these and splashing stuff across the scene. So I mean, it looked lovely. But
looks lovely.
But do I care?
Right.
No, I don't care. Like, you didn't show me anything that made me even remotely think like, oh, this is something that I'm gonna definitely be interested in. It was kind of like sorry to keep putting PlayStation into this, but that Volcano High game
this
or
was
whatever.
Their Volcano High here, right? Yeah.
It was just like the why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't care about it. So as far as this is concerned, it's a whatever. But
yeah. So
how about you, Markariah?
So to give the listeners a little backstory, not a backstory, but
context.
So earlier, I think Golly Cyber was like, "Hey, what was that game again?" And I was like, what was that game
I
again?"
can't remember.
And then Sirknight was like, I think it was just to give you some background, this game is very
forgettable.
There wasn't much there.
Exactly.
Following the theme of the showcase, there wasn't much there to see.
Yeah.
And this looks like a worse Tell Me Why. Tell Me Why has a saving grace of their
being
studio.
a Sims.
Yeah, being a Sims with a potential cool mechanic.
Right.
This has no potential for me. I didn't see anything. I didn't look up the studio, so in their defense, I do apologize. Maybe they created a good series.
Can't give a damn who
So-
made it.
But there was nothing there for me to see. I'm not hyped for this game, and I probably will never download it, even if it was for free.
Wow. Yeah, I'm on board with Markariah. I agree, and I feel bad. We have nothing else to compare it to, but I feel bad even saying Telltale because they at least make good interactive games.
Right.
Yeah,
It looked like it had more interaction than this does.
This looked
but
like
we
a
don't know.
storybook where like everything is a freeze frame. There's no flow to the art. It's just like it cuts to the next image or the next frame, like you're going through an interactive book, and it's got like the storybook watercolor artwork. You
Right.
know, it's like I don't really know if this is something.
So this is similar to like that free game on PlayStation Plus, right?
Erica. This is what I would compare
so this
to.
is kind of like an Erica.
Yeah.
Nah,
exactly.
I kind of think this is more like one of those games that they'll like give for free at some point in time, and that I'll never download because I don't
well, Mark
want
was
this
saying
game.
he wouldn't even play it for
Erica.
free.
Just kidding.
Yeah, they gave you Erica. I'm just saying, I think that would be a more fair comparison as Erica because those are both like lackluster kind of things that are kind of interesting, maybe.
Yeah.
Where Godly Sovereign was like, maybe I would sit down with my wife and she could watch while I click yes or no.
Yeah, that was a little bit more interesting,
but
right? It was kind of like a movie,
game,
but
was a dud, and I think we should move on and forget about it.
Yeah,
Not
so
bring it up again.
let's go ahead and move on to Hellblade 2, right? So it was like Senua's
Senua Saga.
Senua's how's this? How do you say it?
Senua?
Senua's Saga or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
Whatever it
Senua,
was.
yeah.
Hellblade 2. Yeah. So when I was looking at this, I never played Hellblade because I don't have an Xbox. But
it's Xbox.
Hellblade
Okay.
also always looked like something that I wanted to play and check out. It looked, she looked kind of wicked every time that they've seen, they've shown her face. That I don't know if that's ink that's on her that's coming from her mouth or if it's blood or whatever, but it looks like she's a demonic bad witch or some sort of nature, so I've always been interested in checking it out, and possibly with Game Pass, I might go back and play the first one if I have like some some dead space to play. So looking at this one, once again, we didn't really receive any gameplay or anything like that, just a couple of clips in the world. But it always looked good.
The original to build off of.
Yeah. So I'm hyped for this game. This was a game that I tried on Game Pass randomly. It's a nice, short, and sweet game that has great mechanics.
How long is it?
6-7 hours.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It has great mechanics. The storytelling is really good in the game. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody, but it's really intense. It gets in your psychologically, it gets in your head. That follows the character as well, because the character has some of those themes going on. But I'm really hyped for this game. It takes place in Iceland, I believe. That's the setting of this game. So I'm hyped to try this one out. It looked good, and going off the first one, it should be good. What about you, Sir?
Yeah, I'm in the same camp as Godly Sovereign. I haven't played this one. This one I haven't played. But I researched. I know a lot about it. I've seen it's got some of the most incredible looking visuals that a game can have. Like they really did something.
Looked always real.
They
every
did
time
something
I saw her.
incredible with her face and the emotions and the muscle movement of her mouth. It all looks jaw-droppingly incredible. I'm like with Godly Sovereign as well, in the sense that it looked gross. She kind of looks gross to me. There's a little bit it's a little bit chillingly gross. Like, ugh, like I don't want to like follow this gross kind of like weird demonic possessed looking chick. I know there's a purpose for it. I know they have a reason for all that, and you learn all that, but it just is kind of off-putting to me. Like when I see it, like even when they were showing the trailer on the showcase of her and her face, and she was like blood, like. Ugh, like
it looks savage.
That looks gross. Why do I want to play that? Like it just looked like a little too much for me, and so it's kind of off-putting. But I know the technical detail they put into it. They're like, to them, it's like they're Last of Us. They put a lot of work, a lot of detail, a lot of heart, a lot of soul into their storytelling, and I know it's critically acclaimed. And so I might have to do like what Markariah did and just download it and give it a shot.
It's a nice, short, and sweet game.
It being 6 hours helps. I'm not stuck in that world
play
too
it
long.
in a day.
Yeah, I can knock it out in a Saturday, right? And so that might be something I might look into, and just to have my perspective on a critically acclaimed game, and then we'll see.
Yeah, so I mean, moving on from that critically acclaimed game to another cult favorite is Psychonauts.
Oh yeah,
right.
So personally, I never played Psychonauts before.
Okay.
So just going on what we've seen, I saw Jack Black, so I was instantly hyped up. I was like, all right, this is gonna be good. I heard Jack Black singing. I was like, it sounds good. I saw the visuals. I like cartoony games. It looked good. As far as gameplay, I didn't really see much there. Surprise, surprise.
Right.
But with those things being said, I will definitely give this game a try.
Yeah. Okay, I did play Psychonauts. That's an OG Xbox game. Marcus and I really liked it. I had a lot of fun with it.
What do you do in that game?
You have psychic powers, so you can move things around.
Okay.
You can blast things with your psychic powers. It's really fun. It was a fun game.
It was weird.
It was very weird. It's got a weird art style. It's got a weird world you're exploring in. It's Double Fine. It's that weirdo kind of weird looking game. You know, like for me, here's my issue. This is my honest issue. It feels like this is the sequel to an Xbox original game. This does not feel next gen. As I look at Psychonauts, I feel like it's just like the original Psychonauts, and I'm not feeling like gosh, this feels so behind. It just feels behind, and I want it to be more than that. I want there to be some leaps. When you look at the old Ratchet and Clanks and you look at the new Ratchet and Clank they're bringing out,
different.
You're like, dude,
different games.
Yeah,
you're like,
point.
whoa, your eyes are just popping. This feels like it should have been released on the 360 or even the original Xbox. Like, it's disappointing to me in that regard. As much as I liked the Psychonauts the game, my excitement level is draining.
Right, but at the same time, right, Double Fine is like a smaller studio, right?
Not really. They're smaller. They're not Bethesda, or Bungie, but they're not like, the guy who made Fez, 2 people, or it's not small like that. They're pretty big.
But at the same time too, we didn't see any gameplay, so it's hard to say what stage of production they're at. Like we saw them recording Jack Black in the studio. Like
I like the song,
but
I like Jack Black.
At the same time, right? Like when you have like video footage of a game, that's always supposed to look better than the actual game, right?
And
that looked like some regular mid that we've seen already.
Like
it should have
Xbox.
been for Xbox.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if that's due to the artwork. That's why it's constrained on the graphics, as like, an 8-bit game, looks 8-bit and there's no way to make that better. You know what I mean? So it could be because it's the style of the artwork that's like coming to life, kind of like Tearaway, how that looks, a certain way and, in other games, but yeah, I feel like they could have definitely tried to make it a bit more 3D or something and kind of give it like a different effect. But as far as like Psychonauts is concerned, playing the original one, I always thought it was fun. It was interesting and it was kind of weird. It kind of gave me like Tim Burton vibes.
Totally.
On it and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, and they're using like doors to go into people's minds to, have like, that was like the worlds and stuff like that you went into.
Right.
So I thought it was cool. This is definitely, just like off rip. It's not something that like I'm going to go and buy, first drop. But it's definitely something that I would give a play. If I don't have anything going on, like it's worth a play. I would believe.
It feels to me like you were mentioning earlier, like why I think it's, I don't know. There's no way to know. For me, it feels like this is a game he meant to make a long time ago, and it's like he had the framework for it, and now he's getting the funding and the opportunity to make it, and so he's just bringing it back. It's either that or he wants to try to make it feel like the original was, because that's what people remember. But that doesn't excite me because it's so old. It's just so old. If this was like just a last generation or something, maybe. But it's so old that it's like I need something new. We're on the Xbox Series X, for crying out loud. We're past Xbox One already, and we're still going back to OG Xbox. So
going back to a comment you made before, like Xbox is just trying to like reach and get all these games. Do you think this is just a reach attempt? They're like, this is iconic. We don't care how it looks. Let's just bring it.
I think grabbing a Double Fine was definitely one of those. Yeah, trying to grab any potentially well-known studio they can and just gobble them up because Sony had all the good ones. There's not a whole lot left. They're trying to get what they can.
Gotcha.
Because they own Double Fine now, right?
Yeah.
That's part of Microsoft.
I think it's part of Microsoft Studios.
Right?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So that's why.
I mean, so if Psychonauts,
I'm not a fan of Double Fine.
Yeah. So if Psychonauts doesn't excite you, are you excited about Destiny 2?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Destiny 2's been out for a while now, right? But they're constantly adding new things. They're constantly modifying it, adding extra DLC packages and whatnot for you to purchase, and and trying to upgrade the gameplay and keep you invested. And it seems like, when they mention that, they really have dedicated themselves to it. Like, we're not coming out with another Destiny game. We're just going to keep adding on to this
which
one.
is good. I like that.
And the fact that it's on Game Pass, is lovely. So I think, for me personally, I'll probably go back into it, and I won't even worry about continuing on my PlayStation.
Right,
I'm just gonna start over. Yeah,
just enjoy
because
it.
I feel like everything now has been changed, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so I feel like me
Bunch of
catching
DLC.
up to it, I'm gonna be able to play through all of the new DLC that's happened since like the last time that I played it, and it's gonna be all new content for me. So I won't be disappointed or like, I've already played this, feeling like it's an extra grind or whatever. But how do you feel, Sirknight?
Dude, yeah, totally. I'm so pumped. And it's on Xbox Game Pass, so you're going to be able to get all the downloadable content from the whole entire history of Destiny 2 on the Game Pass. You don't have to buy nothing. You just have Game Pass, and you get to play the whole entire series on Game Pass. And it looks so fun. I love the new mechanic, the whole freezing mechanic, where they're freezing platforms and they're jumping onto those platforms.
That's
like they're
sick.
making their own platforms to jump onto.
Yeah.
Or freezing enemies in place and then
smashing
shattering them.
Yeah.
Like,
sick.
that is such a cool idea. Like, I'm so excited for new powers, right?
Right.
And then the gameplay, of course, is impeccable. It's a Halo or better quality gameplay. Right, and it's just so, Destiny is exciting, and that it's going to be on Game Pass gets me so hype.
Yep.
I can't wait for that to come out. All three of us back in the Destiny
We're gonna
world,
be on
starting
it,
over.
sure.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, to give our listeners some perspective, Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, the We Love Gaming crew, we went hard on these games.
We went hard.
We played
Yeah.
together.
All
we
of it,
raided.
Throughout the Crota cheeses and all that.
So
Crota
this
cheeses.
game is, I love Destiny.
Yeah.
I kind of fell out of Destiny after Destiny 2.
Man, you left us.
So I did leave, but I've been wanting to jump back. So I've been eyeballing, when is the DLC going on sale? Man, I got to buy 2-3 DLCs. And when I heard that all of these are included, I was like, thank goodness, because I've been wanting to jump in. Like, I've been really wanting to jump back in Destiny. So we're going to be able to play it again, guys. So I'm hyped for the Beyond Light expansion, like you're saying. It looked awesome. Who knows what other mechanics for raids the freezing will have. Like, this, there's a lot of options.
Just adding that simple mechanic, like being able to freeze the
Changes
platforms,
it up.
it makes it a whole nother realm of. Now you can go into the sky, right? Now you can go up into the other areas of the map. Like, it just adds
Depending
a whole
on
nother
how
element.
long that ice stays
Yeah.
solidified for.
Yeah. So we'll see. But Destiny, you guys are doing the right. Or Bungie, good job with this.
Right, they're trying to turn it around.
You guys are.
They broke away from Activision. Bungie broke away.
Right.
That used to be a lot of people blame the issues that Destiny had, right? The constant slow tap of content release.
The
where
pay
you
to play
felt-
wall.
Where you felt like they were withholding portions of the game that should have been there behind a payroll to get you to make more money, because the big CEO, corporation Activision was forcing them to do that. Well, they broke away entirely from Activision, and they're on their own now, and they're in complete control. It's their baby.
That's good.
And everyone's excited about that direction. So I think we're seeing some of that, materialize here with this Beyond Light, which is so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was kind of just like Markariah when they had announced that they were doing Beyond Light, the expansion. And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I want to kind of get back into it, because it was going to be fun. But I was trying to research and find out, can I just buy the Beyond Light and then get everything up to that point?
Which is
So
the
it's
question
just
we always
because I
ask
already
ourselves,
have,
right?
I already
Yeah.
have Destiny 2, right? I never got rid of it, but it's can I just buy the Beyond Light expansion, pay the $20 for that, and then I get everything that's already been there, or am I gonna have to do WoW used to have us do, and you had to buy each one of the expansion things
in order
to get up to that version and then do it. So, but hearing that it's on Game Pass and it's all there, I'm worry free now. It's nothing hindering me from playing this again.
Yeah, even the new DLC. How
Right.
dope is that?
Yeah.
Anyways.
So we're definitely gonna be playing this and streaming this. So if you guys, our listeners, want to join
Absolutely.
us, let's join our We Love Gaming clan that we're gonna have.
For sure.
You know,
Yeah,
we'll raid
we love
together.
Clean
Definitely gonna
Clan.
get
Yeah,
that.
You know,
for sure.
You know, we used to have a clan
yeah.
that was called the First of Light or something like that, or First
Gods
Light.
of the First Light.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
First
we're
Light,
definitely gonna have
so-
to do a WLG or
Yeah,
something
for
going on.
sure.
We'll come up with
So
something.
this,
Let you guys know.
We talked about Destiny 2. We're talking about another 2.
Right.
Stalkers 2.
Stalker 2, yeah.
Right. So
What's
how'd you
up
feel
here,
about that,
Mark?
Markariah?
So I personally like suspenseful horror kind of games. So this game looked pretty good to me. Nice visuals. But to be honest, it was a little forgetful to me now. I watched the trailer the other day. So
It's probably
there wasn't-
forgetful
I-
because there's no
I didn't
gameplay.
really- yeah, I didn't. Oh, okay, that explains it. Yeah, that explains it. Yeah, there wasn't much to see. So
That's why I
That's
don't remember
why.
seeing
Why?
anything.
Yeah. That explains why I forget. So what do you guys think about
What's
it?
up, Godlies? Well, I'll, let me tell you. Once again, no gameplay. I'm just trying to glean what I can from the little cutscene they give me. Is this post-apocalyptic? Is this horror? Is this an RPG? Is this an open world? No idea. No clue. They give you nothing. And they just say, oh, okay, it's Stalkers 2. Okay, that's a game title, right? But what am I doing? What is this game? No idea.
Yeah, so I was just looking at it and I was like, okay, it seems like it might have some interesting stuff in there. Maybe they try to take like some aspects from Resident Evil and incorporate them. Maybe, hopefully it's not like a Blair Witch Project game
Maybe.
or something like that. But
Maybe.
you know, once again, it's just a trailer. I'm not super hype about horror games. Those aren't my bag. So I'm not really too interested in horror games, but if it's something that might be worth giving it a spin, I'll definitely give it a shot. But other than that, it's nothing.
If I had to pick what it would be, just from the trailer, my first thought is a Metro type game, like
Okay.
Metro Last Light,
Okay.
or
Right.
First Light, one of those, right?
Yeah.
Where it incorporates the suspenseful kind of horror aspect, but maybe you have a first person and post-apocalyptic. Maybe it's all those things like Metro
Maybe.
is. That's all I can guess from. Like I
Gotcha.
can't go off any more than that. It's a dud so far.
All right, so moving on, the next game was Warhammer 40K Darktide. So I'll jump in this one
Yeah.
first because I'm a big fan of the Vermintide series, which I play exclusively on PC. This
Okay.
is going to be like Vermintide, but in the Warhammer 40K sci-fi universe. So just think of the sci-fi version
Which
of
is dope.
Vermintide. So this is going to be a console exclusive launch.
Okay.
It'll eventually be on the PC. So I'm super hyped with this game. Talking about the trailer, there wasn't no gameplay showed, but
We have Vermintide to go off
we have
of.
Vermintide's
Right.
reference. So when you're watching the trailer and you see that scene where there's hordes of enemies,
Uh-huh.
that's what I went in and did some research on the game. I was like, oh, is this Vermintide but Warhammer 40K? And it is, because in Vermintide, think of a first-person Diablo meets a Left 4 Dead, where you're progressing through these levels. There's different types of enemies that have different abilities. So one, if Marcus is back trying to loot something, look in a corner, there can be some sort of creature that comes and kidnaps you, and we have to come and it has
Alright.
that Left 4 Dead, the multiple different abilities on creatures.
Okay.
So I'm super hyped for this game. This is another one that's best playing with friends.
Right.
It has
Okay.
an awesome solo component, but playing with other people, there's hard difficulties when you're trying to get that best gear,
Right.
getting all those epic drops and epic loot.
Mhm.
It is easier playing with other people. So I'm super hyped for this game. What
Yeah.
about you, Sir Knight?
Vermintide was always awesome. I would watch Vermintide on Twitch streams. It was super high paced, action packed. The combat looked smooth, fun, powerful. Like you felt the characters seemed really powerful. Like you're doing like crap tons of awesome amounts of
Yeah.
damage to waves of guys. So your character feels weighty. It feels powerful. It is exciting. I don't usually game on the PC, so I haven't actually put any hours into Vermintide, but I've watched quite a bit of it, and it's really looks really fun. And yeah, it's totally Left 4 Dead. The four of you are just moving through the level, right, trying to get to the end of it, collecting stuff as
Yeah.
you go. But that is dope that it has the Diablo vibe of the loot chasing too, which is a huge pull for me.
Yeah.
But so if this is a console exclusive, which is like what I said, I play mostly on this console, then this will absolutely be something that I hop on, and hopefully the We Love Gaming crew can get on there and get through some levels,
Yeah.
pick some characters, especially the sci-fi theme. That's awesome
Yeah.
to me.
It has a lot of replayability because there's multiple classes. So each classes what they do is exclusive. So in Vermintide, if you want a bow and arrow, you know, you got to go with a certain class. If you want magic, you go with a certain class. So this has a lot of replayability. It has a lot of, unique gameplay. You know, you identify with what your character's doing. Not all the characters do the same thing. The loot is exclusive to your character.
Right.
So it has a lot of varied boss fights. It has a lot of cool, like, level mechanics. So I would say, to me, it's better than Left 4 Dead, and I really like Left 4 Dead.
I agree. It sounds and Left 4 Dead was the first one to ever kind of do that style. 4 players run through a level together, killing hordes of things, and you're just trying to survive through it. They were the first to do that. Then it caught on. This is really good too. So I'm excited.
Yeah. So Godly Sovereign, what was your opinions on the game when you saw the trailer?
So I have no experience whatsoever in Warhammer. I've always seen the title, and I've been interested because of the title, but I don't know anything, not a single thing about Warhammer, the world it's in, you know, the type of games or whatever, you know, and I've never played on the PC or anything. So just looking at it, it looks like something that I would want to play. You're saying that it's Diablo, you're saying that it's Left 4 Dead. I've played both of those. So, those sound like something that would be fun. The factor that you add multiplayer in so I can play with the fellas makes it even more appealing, you know? So, it's definitely that something that I'll keep my eye on, you know, and wait to hear, you know, what more stuff we got going on for it and when it's going to release and all those things. So for right now, it's just like I'm going to look out for it.
Yeah, it's a good one, man. It's going to be fun.
So moving on from Darktide, they did showcase, Tetris Effect. So,
Tetris
I played Tetris Effect, the one that came out on the current generation.
Okay.
It's fun. It's interesting. It's Tetris. There's a few extra elements. It's flashier, explosions. That's always fun. Particles. Lots of particles on screen. Bright, flashy particles on screen. This one, it just sounds like there's some new mechanics, big blocks, right? Like big, massive blocks fall down that screw you up. And then a lot of music and beats. That's what it sounds like this one is. Do you get anything more than that, Mark?
So I think it's more or less what you're saying. I noted that they said there's some sort of optimized single player campaign. So I never played a Tetris game that had a campaign. So we'll see what that means. I was hoping for it to have more varied modes. Like, the Switch released that exclusive 100-man Tetris. I forgot what it was called.
Yes, Tetris 99.
Tetris 99.
Yeah.
So I was hoping it had some crazy, never before seen gameplays like that. It seems like not so much.
It's more like experiential. You put your headphones on. You're listening to the music. You're getting into it. You're seeing the visuals.
It's trying to be a Resogun Tetris.
Yeah, like a Resogun. It's just about like experiential. Yeah. And Tetris, I've liked Tetris. I've always enjoyed Tetris as a game, but it's just Tetris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my opinion on it short and sweet. It's Tetris.
It's Tetris. Yeah.
So,
did you guys ever play the game on the PSP Luminous?
That sounds very familiar.
It's like a puzzle dropping down shapes. And it had an emphasis on sound and rhythm.
I think I did. Yes.
So, if what you're saying, I see maybe it has some of that
those elements.
And added the music vibe and the sounds and the visuals. It did add a cool element to the game. So maybe that's what they're going for.
It's a new marketing of Tetris. They're making more money on Tetris, right? They're finding new ways to make money on Tetris, which it's a great game, but it's just like Marcus said, Tetris.
Yeah, so, moving on from Tetris Effect, they showcased the gunk.
Okay.
So, what do we think about that, Markariah?
I thought that character shown, she looked cool with her, I don't know, kind of robotic arm siphoning device, and then it sucked in the gunk. So I was like, okay, that's why it's called gunk. I don't know. I didn't really see much there, honestly. The world looked really nice. I like this, like, I don't know, lush planet-looking forest. It looks cool, but there wasn't much there to go off of.
That's exciting, right?
That was exciting. I didn't see any boss battles, or I didn't see any over-the-top. I didn't see anything to really get me excited. So we'll see how this harvesting gunk and The movement looked cool though. When the character was running around, that looked fun. It looked polished in that regards, but we'll see what's up with this whole gunk. Let's see what it actually does. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe there's like a use for it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Golly Sovereign, but it said that this was from the creators of the SteamWorld games. And I'm a big fan of the SteamWorld games. I've played SteamWorld Dig 1 and 2. I've played SteamWorld Mercenaries. I'm a really big fan of their games. They make really great, high-quality games that I enjoy. But this does not seem in that vein. It's different, completely different. It's a 3D direction. They haven't really done a 3D game, so it's in a 3D direction. But they're very good about being rewarding. All those games feel very rewarding. You earn lots of interesting things. It could be similar, in SteamWorld Dig, you're digging, and you're collecting things as you dig. Maybe the gunk is the same way. You're sucking up
just collecting the gunk.
Yeah, you take it back to town and you use it to progress. Okay. And so there could be a lot of fun things here. I just know that I'm a big fan of the SteamWorld games, and I trust this developer, and so I would definitely give this game a try. But I agree. At first glance, you're like, oh, what are you doing, But it kind of, if you're using the gunk, right, you're collecting it, you're finding goods in it, you're finding valuable things inside of it, and you're taking it back, and you're building your person up to even get more gunk, to go further into the world where it gets thicker, right, or something along those lines, and it gets, more interesting and more complex. That could be a lot of fun.
So, taking a look at the trailer and whatnot, it seemed like it was, a cool little game. Definitely like an indie game. Something kind of low key to play with. Again, they didn't, we didn't really have like much gameplay or much explanation as to what's going on.
No explanation.
So
it's another thing.
Yeah, so it's just, it's just like, okay, this girl running around. It kind of reminded me of that one bunny game that we saw that was introduced on the PS5 that had the extra robo arm attachment that was super big. I forgot what the name of the game was.
Yeah, that was Fist.
Yeah. There you go, Fist.
But that was action adventure.
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying, like, when I saw the big hand, I was like, oh, that's like from Fist. But it's actually on her fist, so it's not the same. But you had this glove that you could suck up the gunk, and it looked like it might have had some other charging abilities or power abilities. I think there was possibly a boss or whatever to fight at some point in time, dealing with the gunk. I'm not sure. I did kind of see like Kenna-ish vibes. Like once you clear all of the gunk out of this area, then like boom, something magical sprouts up or whatever and grows.
It could be fun collecting all that. So, it could be fun.
Yeah. So it's something that if I heard about it again and they were able to show me some gameplay, I'd keep my ears open. But other than that, it's like, oh, okay.
It might be fun, but SteamWorld games. I know you like the SteamWorld games too, Stone. I know you're.
The SteamWorld games were fun.
So that helps. That helps out, right? Like I really like the SteamWorld games.
Yeah.
But then we have Medium.
Right.
Another interactive storytelling. What did you get from this, Markariah?
So this one had like what little horror suspense vibe to it. So that gave a couple brownie points in my book. But other than that, these like interactive. Well, I don't know what you call these type of games. What are these? Interactive storytelling
dramas. Yeah, I don't know what to call them either. I can only think of interactive storytelling.
And so this interactive storytelling game, I didn't really see any cool mechanics. I saw it was horror, so I'm interested in that. Other than that, it was kind of forgetful in my opinion.
There's the one interesting thing that this game did was they had the alternate realities, like the alternate dimensions, where you have the real world and then like she's in hell. I don't know where she's at. She's in some kind of horrific place, right? And it lines up identical. So whatever the girl's doing in the real world, she's doing the exact identical thing in the horrific world. Yeah, the upside down. How does that... I don't know how that gameplay works.
Yeah.
Are you switching?
From what I deemed from this, this trailer, right, with no information really on it, but it seems as if I could see it basically being like a puzzle solver. Like you would get,
Okay.
you would get in the main world or whatever, and then you would be walking into an area, and then you would possibly
I have to switch.
advance time or
Okay.
go into the upside
To
down
move
as this
something or-
other girl, and
okay.
she may have it may be opened.
And then she can get through.
decrepit over there in that area, so she may be able to walk through there, and then you switch it back
Okay.
again, and she's inside the building that she
Okay.
just couldn't get into before.
Okay, I could buy that.
So I feel like it could be like a big puzzler, you know, trying to manipulate your environment by I don't even know if this is like fast forwarding time or in a different dimension or whatever. The girls look completely different, so they might have different. They might interact with their environments differently. You know, the other girl from the red side of the world or whatever, the underworld, the dark side, you know, could have like a special ability or something like that that's
Right.
able to manipulate something that the other world girl sees. So I'm definitely
You're
you know,
helping it. You're helping it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
You're
Yeah,
bringing me a
so-
little more on board.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see it, you know, what they showcased and whatnot, and I'm definitely, you know, it's horror, so it's kind of like, you know, I'm not really caring about it too much, but if it's more so the aspect of like, you know, going between these worlds and trying to navigate, you know, through a situation like, you know, you may be in the upside down with the girl, and then there's like some type of an enemy that comes at you, and you're like, oh crap, you switch to the other world, and it's a
Right.
little dog or something like that, and then you're able to just shoot the dog away, and that gets rid of it or something, you know,
Yeah.
of that nature. I don't know, you know, we don't know what to expect, but I'm definitely gonna keep my eye on it for it. Eye out on it, you know, to see what they're gonna come up with, because you know it's been a while since I've seen something that was even remotely similar to this.
Godly Sovereign, you brought it up from a Dusk Calls tier to a little higher, because to me,
Yeah, it was on that level, right?
to me, I didn't
Like,
put
you
too
don't
much thought
care.
into it. It
Yeah.
was like towards the later of the showcase, so I kind of wasn't. But yeah, maybe it is some sort of parallel universe, and it has some interaction. You know, there's something that you know draws
Right.
those parallel hell or whatever it is. And that's the mechanic. That's the
Right.
gameplay. That sounds awesome, actually.
It's another unfortunate theme of this showcase, of us trying to explain the unexplained.
Right.
Like, it's a shame that we have to try to make their game sound good from what we can glean from it, when they could have just shown us that and got us excited about it without us having to try to excite each other off our own personal concepts or speculations of a game they didn't explain.
Okay, so one of those things that I hate to keep doing it, but I'm just gonna bring it up, the PS5 event, right?
Yeah.
So, and some of the games that we knew nothing about, right? They actually introduced the developers to kind of give us a small synopsis of the game. You know what I mean? They did it with Kenna. They did it with like a couple of other ones. And I mean, Xbox brought people in, but just to be like, we're so proud of the game we're making. Let's check it out. And then it's
Yeah.
just a game trailer, and you told me nothing. I'm still clueless as I was before. And I don't recall hearing any after game show or anything where, you know, maybe IGN or somebody was able to get a more in-depth discussion with the developers. So I'm still just as clueless as if you hadn't mentioned anything or
Right.
shown me who you
Exactly.
were when you talked about
Exactly.
it. I felt like maybe at like 1 or 2 points in the game show showcase or whatever, that they had somebody, a developer, talking about the game and maybe talking a little bit more about it, but it was on a game that I felt was like so irrelevant. Like and they weren't even saying anything more, but they could have taken that time to give you a little bit more insight as to why they feel like this is important, right? Because I think there was this one French lady that was talking about a game, and she was stating something about it being in a world of like depression or anxiety or something like that, and
Right.
somebody going through that, right?
Explaining a bit to
I
us.
can't remember what game it was. I think it had to deal with the Tell Me Why. I'm not sure though.
Yes, I know
Don't
what you're
quote
talking
me on
about,
that,
though.
guys. I mean, if
Yeah.
you guys know in the comments, let me know, so I'll check it. But that was at least something that was helpful. It's kind
Right.
of giving me like, okay, where's your mindset when you made this game, and what are we doing? So that type of stuff could have been used several times throughout this showcase.
Absolutely.
It would have just helped tremendously, especially
Right.
with some of those. Volcano High from the
Absolutely.
PS5 event needed it, as well as a couple of others. But
Funny
I
enough,
felt like it really needed on this
it
one.
almost felt like even as bad as Volcano High was, there's more there they gave us than even some of these Xbox games.
Yeah, I mean they gave us a little bit about the story and them interacting with each other, but they didn't give us gameplay.
Yeah.
So that's what
Yeah.
we didn't really care about. Volcano High was. It looked like a show or something
Yeah,
like
so
that we would watch. But
I see the value in a teaser for a well-established something we're waiting
Well-established,
for, and we'll get
yes.
to a title later on.
Yes,
that
where it works.
We're waiting.
Where it works, right?
But for an unknown game that's a first
You
in a
have to
series
sell
that you
me.
never heard of,
Yeah.
your first impression is everything.
Right.
So sorry,
Yeah.
some of these games like As Dust Falls, your first impression missed the mark. So
And Medium too. Marcus saved it.
oh
Godly Sovereign
and that's
saved
still
it, and
sorry.
that's how
just
bad
still
it is,
randomness
right?
put into the air.
Yeah,
like, I don't
but I'm
even
saying
know,
like
but yeah.
Medium was on that, as you said.
Medium,
it was
I
at
kinda
Dusk
signed it
is
off.
Fall level, right? And then but then
yeah,
Godly
no.
Sovereign, like,
He-
oh, actually,
he
that's a cool idea. I wish the
piqued my
developer
interest.
would have told us that, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can move from that to an actually somewhat established game, Phantasy Star Online.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any experience with that, Markariah?
Yeah, so I downloaded. So I've been waiting for this game to come to North America for a very long time. I at one point downloaded.
Oh, is it not North America? You can't play it in North America? Or you have
for
to play it.
for almost 6-7 years. It was only in Japan.
Wow.
So this game was an MMO that was on the PlayStation, the Switch, PC for Japan. You can download the game in Japanese and play.
And that's how you play it.
So I was like, oh, I want to play this game. So fast forward 6-7 years. It's on the Xbox, guys. It's on the PC. It's a fun game. Has a lot of content. The trailer, I didn't really see much that I didn't see in the normal game.
Okay.
But some of these bosses, it does have massive bosses. So I think it's just more content for the game.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, viewers. This content, I don't know if this content is exclusive to, or if this is content that was released in Japan already and we're catching up.
Okay.
That I don't know, and I need to do some more research. But I'm excited to try this out. I'm excited to play it. It's a great game to play with other people. And it does have a lot, Phantasy Star Online, since the Dreamcast, has a cult following.
Yes.
So this is a game that it's a well-established franchise. It's iconic, worldwide.
Uh-huh.
So I think this is a great move that, Xbox acquired this, in North America.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Phantasy Star Online. Like you're saying, I've never personally played it, but I am familiar with it. And I do know it's got its followers. It's got its base. There's a base of gamers there that it has. But I must say, it looked exciting. It looked fun. The combat looked fast, flashy, interesting. Do you collect armor and loot? Yes.
So you level up.
Okay.
There's itemization. There's the main hub where you sell items. You get quests, you get your dailies. It has all the traditional MMO.
I was recently looking for an MMO for all of us to hop back into, and for the console, there just really isn't anything that good for the console. So this is kind of interesting. It kind of excites me a little bit. What about you, Godly Sour?
Yeah, so I mean, I've heard of Phantasy Star Online before. So I was familiar about it, but I've never gotten a chance to play it. I never, tried it on PC or Xbox or anything like that. Looking at this trailer, though, it looked really good. It looked fun. You know what I mean? I liked the artwork on it, and the graphics looked good. It looked like the combat was going to be entertaining.
Yes.
The fact that it's online, it's an MMO. I don't know how much of an MMO it is, but I do know, you're going to have at least, 3 other people playing with you. So that works out for us. I'm hoping that there's customization in your character,
There is.
which will be awesome. Getting armor pieces, swords, different kinds of gear to make your guy look more bad than ever, is awesome. So I'm all for it. Just like Sirknight said, it's been a while since I've had an MMO to play. to get in on. And I, was on the borderline of contemplating trying to talk you guys into doing some DC universe online.
I've been aching for a console MMO, right?
Yeah. So
Right.
to give some responses to what you said, there's huge customizations in this game. This is a free MMO, so they
Okay.
make their money from hair, from skins, from
purchases and stuff.
transmogable items. So you can customize your character
That's what I
as
like to
much
hear.
as you can. And
Right.
honestly, there's a lot of people who just stay in the main hub. And there's just,
And just
20,
chop
30
it up?
people, there's chopping it up. And, that's what
Really?
they like about the game, customizing
Really?
their avatar.
Okay.
So there's raids in this game. A lot of it is instanced. So it's not like World of Warcraft where you go in the Barrens and you see everybody in the
Right.
Barrens. This is more you go in instance areas. And if,
Destiny
certain-
then. More Destiny.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
have a central
Like
hub,
Destiny.
like the tower.
Like
okay.
Destiny, you go out to the area, other people are on a bounty there, you see them.
Okay.
You're not seeing everyone because there's other instances of it.
So it's like MMO light.
It's MMO light. There's
Okay.
raids. I think it's like 8-man raid. I forget the exact number on the raids, but there's raid content. There's big boss battles.
Okay.
It's kind of like Monster Hunter boss battle where you're running, you're dodging.
That's what.
you're
That's actually
swinging.
a good comparison. It did have a Monster Hunter look to it.
Yeah, so that's
okay.
that's
Yeah,
how the
yeah,
boss
it
fight
did,
is.
yeah.
So this
you're
should
right.
be fun. I'm looking forward to playing that one. And then we have this Crossfire X, which I have no familiarity with this all. Mark, you said you had some.
Yeah, so Crossfire, it was in beta last month on the
Okay.
Xbox.
Okay.
So it's pretty much, I don't like
Call of
comparing
Duty?
games to Call of Duty, but it's a Call of Duty style
Yeah.
first-person shooter.
Right.
And they just announced that there's going to be a campaign, just like Call of Duty.
Okay.
So, man, I'm not super hyped, but what I
Yeah.
saw was a very polished first-person shooter.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, this will be a free game just in general. So, it's a good game to try, but for them, showcasing kind of a campaign, what separates it from every other FPS? Does it have good storytelling? Does it have good voice acting? Because honestly, I played the latest iteration of the Call of Duty campaign, and it was actually surprisingly good.
Yeah.
The voice acting, the visuals, it was on point.
Okay.
So I'm gonna compare it with the last Call of Duty. So it needs to have great voice acting, great visuals, a great story, a great world. Based on what I saw so far, it was very generic.
Mm-hmm. It looked
So
generic
that's my
to
only
me.
fear.
Yeah. Like you said earlier, Markariah said earlier, interactive games are a dime a dozen to him. I think first-person shooters are a dime a dozen, and there's so many of them to stand out in the first. So many to stand out in the first-person shooter crowd. It's nigh impossible. Like you're saying, you gotta have good story, good action, good gameplay, good content. Yeah, you have to because it's so competitive.
Yeah.
So because of that, my first thought is just like, oh come on, whatever, another first-person shooter, kind of lame to me. Next. So that's kind of like for me. Where were you at, Godly?
Yeah, so Crossfire X. Just like Markariah said, it looked like another Call of Duty. Just a first-person shooter. Honestly, guys, I really have nothing to add to this because first-person shooters of multiplayer caliber really don't excite me at all. And, no offense to the people who love it, but I just suck at it. So I tend to not give any kind of interest in it. I don't want to get slaughtered for, 4 hours and barely increase, in
Your
in
levels
level
and stuff,
or whatever. Yeah. The struggle is too real and I don't want any parts of it. So for that by itself, I'm out. Like,
Right.
it's like, it's cool,
For it having a campaign, does that excite you at all?
The campaign, it might be somewhat enticing, but I've never really been a fan of war games, in a sense. Like I would have to play something in VR for it to be a little bit more appealing to me. You know what I mean? Going in as a military man and then sitting there and battling it out or whatever in any type of scenario. It just wasn't. It's never been something that was just like super enthusiastic.
It's just an exhausted genre. The first-person shooter. It's exhausted. It's overplayed. So we have Halo.
Right.
We have Destiny 2, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what is this adding
We have
to the
Destiny
world
2.
of first-person shooters? I don't know what it's adding. So,
Yeah.
it's a tried, exhausted genre that has already been, dominated by other brands.
Right.
Yeah. I just wish they would implement some new mechanic. You know, like games like BioShock, Titanfall. It's cool. It's a cool story to play through.
Mm-hmm.
This seems like the campaign's gonna be boring. The multiplayer is gonna be generic.
Right.
You know, they got to show us something that we never seen before,
Yeah.
and maybe we're missing that. Maybe because they didn't show us enough content, we're missing that. So
Right, something different. But I mean, even then though, right? If we're on a different planet or something like that, like it's kind of like it's. You know, we've seen a lot of them. So then it's really about your storyline. That's what's gonna
BioShock
really
had
matter.
a great story, and they just used the first-person shooter medium to tell it,
Right.
which is fine. But this felt like a Call of Duty. Like it didn't feel like something unique and special.
generic.
Yeah, and you know, like you said, you know, Sirknight, we have Destiny 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We already have other things that are just like solidified. So bringing a new IP in, and then you know trying to tempt us with it, like. You know, good luck.
Good
you know
luck.
what I mean? I hope, you know, I wish for the best, but I'm not going to be part of that crowd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not downloading this, right?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So,
The
enough
coup
of
de
all that
grace
other
here.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that was just like the opening little crap, like Halo Infinite. Who could care less about Halo Infinite?
Wow.
You know, all these other games,
Man, that's great.
they're nothing, right? They mean nothing when they stand at the feet of Fable. All right, so I've been saying this for the longest, right? I want to see Fable. Fable needs to come out. That's what they need to bring to their system to get me to buy it. And gosh darn it, they did it.
They did it.
They did
They
it.
freaking revealed it, man.
You've been
you
talking
know,
about Fable like every week.
every freaking episode dang near, right?
Gets
So
mentioned.
I mean, you know, they start off with the little Twitter ads, you know, people are investigating it real quick, and then they're finding out like, oh, you know, they I think signed like a declaration of producing something on the IP. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just holding it, it was like an intent to sell
Right.
something using that IP. So then it's like, whoo, you know what I mean? And then we get a little clip footage. Now, yes, we just received trailer.
A teaser.
That was it.
Tease.
A quick little thing, you know, some narration, you know, a frog eating a fairy. That's it. That's all we saw. But I'll be damned if that didn't sell me. All right? Day one, I'm getting a freaking Xbox
Yep.
just to wait for this thing.
Yep.
I pray that they have this freaking thing ready on launch, but I know it's not going to happen,
No.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this is like first quarter type of thing on the, you know, the top of 2021. You know what I mean? So the differences about this, right, already is that Peter Molyneux, I believe, does not have anything to do with this game, right? This is not a Lionhead Studio produced game. Lionhead Studio
scary.
has been nixed. They are out. So we have this company that's called Underground or Playground.
Okay.
So I know nothing about Playground. Maybe if you guys had any information, you could fill me in. But as far as I'm concerned, I've never heard of Playground. So I'm interested to see what they decide to keep and what they take away from this world. You know, all of the other previous Fables have always had like this British appeal to them. So they spoke with a British accent and everything, you know. So the gameplay was always fun for me. You know, graphics were what they were at that time. So I always enjoyed that. But it
Yeah.
was more so of your good and evil scale that you could play with and the different legendary items that were out there that you could grab a hold of or be a part of, you know, in this world.
Yeah.
And then, you know, your progression from the decisions that you made, showing your outlook, right? So the only thing that I could compare to that degree is, what is it? Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Right, that was my shiz dizzle, because you could literally go to the dark side and you just slowly saw as you progressed to a villain,
It's all
you could
physical
see,
change.
yeah, all of your physical changes and different things, growing demon horns
Right.
and things like that, and it was the same way with Fable, and I just fell in love with that world. And every time I played a Fable 1, 2, and 3, I always wanted more. That's how I always ended the game, is wanting more. I felt like it was one of those games that was just too damn short, and I didn't understand it. And there's some people that like short games.
Yeah.
But, I just always wanted it to be more, because I just wanted to be in that world more.
Yeah.
So, needless to say,
Your dream
as
came
soon as
true.
the freaking, the game gods have answered my call. And, Fable is going to be released. As soon as I find out the date, I will be letting you guys know repeatedly. I'm definitely pre-ordering as soon as pre-orders are available, even if the thing is on Game Pass, because I'm just going to want a physical copy for myself.
Yeah.
So that's how pumped I am about it. And honestly, I might, just because they want to play with me, I might just hold off on getting an Xbox until the damn game is coming out.
Okay.
And then it's like I buy them both together at the same time.
All right.
Probably not, but I might buy the digital version or something. I don't know. I don't know what I'll do.
Right.
But, yeah, it's freaking Fable, man.
Miracles really do.
Freaking
Wow.
Fable.
Miracles really do happen.
All right, so I mean, enough of me about Fable, right? We already know I love the damn game, and I'm waiting on it.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about it?
So I have never really played the Fable games. I played the first one a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't progress much. I was just a little boy running around. I think there's a couple areas where you can make a good or a bad decision, and I chose the bad decisions to be funny.
Yeah.
But then my morale or something went down. I needed a certain morale to get to the next part and buy something for my sister or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the game is pretty cool. I like that. That's a pretty unique system. I would say that this game, I like the teaser because it has a big crowd following. No one knew if the series was gonna come back, and everyone forgave them for just showing the words Fable on the screen. So this is how you do it.
That's pretty much all they did is show the word Fable, right?
This is how you do it, guys.
I think it's the only game that can get rid of it, get away with it, right?
Doing that.
All these other companies, you better show us something.
Yeah.
Right? This is how you do it, guys.
Because games like this can show us their name. When you don't have a name, sorry. So
Yeah, I agree with Markariah. I like the trailer actually. I like that little end when the berry gets snatched out of the frog.
Right.
Like that's old Fable humor.
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude, it hit. Like, oh, it hit. So that gave me some hope that this Playground Studio or whatever is going to be able to duplicate these Fable games.
Yeah.
My concern with this game is because it was such a short teaser, and they just signed that intent to use, whatever MDA or whatever it's called.
I already know what you're gonna say.
This is just to appease that requirement that they have to show some kind of content in the next 6 months to maintain that intent to use.
You have a feel that
And
it's
we're
gonna be like a
years
couple of
away.
years.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
You
think
have
we're
to
years-
speak it into
I
existence,
think we're
don't you,
years
guys?
away, dude. I think we're years away. I think this is just them appeasing that requirement for those copyright rules. But hey, dude, Marcus, it's happening, right? Like, so it's happening.
Yeah.
So it's a real thing. It's happening. Even if it's a couple years away, it doesn't matter. It's happening. We're gonna get another.
Just
Fable
make it
game.
good.
And this is what we said that Xbox needed. Something to sell your console other than Halo, right? Like, some of these games look cool. Avowed's cool, but is that going to be a console seller? No. You need Fable. You need something
big title,
IP, man. And finally they delivered something.
Right.
So I'm super excited about that, but I do have my reservations on the timing of this game release.
Yeah, and it's been a decade since the last one came out.
So
over a decade.
we're ready.
And and they had talks of there being like a Fable worlded game, that was gonna come out, but they canned it. And I'm glad, because it was nothing that I was going to play. And even though I liked the Fable world, it was just nothing that was like appealing. I think it was like a Fable MOBA or something like that of a nature. But yeah, whatever happened, Lionhead Studios took a tank. And the head of it, which was Peter, who was basically like the brain for the world of Fable, he moved over to a production studios called 22 Cans.
Okay.
So this Playground Studios is literally like, they probably have nobody who previously worked on it before, working on it. So
yeah, they do have a lot of content to glean from.
Right. They have 3 games.
flavors.
Yeah. And the Fable 1 came out twice. They
Right.
gave you the anniversary edition, with a little extra content, that had been clipped or whatever, or they just added it on there, on the 360.
Yeah.
But,
So, I mean, news just as big, I think, as Fable was the announcement. It kind of slipped under the rug, and this was, I think, an absolute travesty. But every game we just talked about on this show, every single one of them, every one of them are going to be available through the Game Pass subscription. Every one of them.
Everyone.
Fable,
Wow.
Right.
Halo, Avowed, everything that we talked about in this whole podcast is going to be available on
Incredible.
Game Pass.
Exactly.
That's mind-blowing, guys.
It's nuts.
Do
That's
we know
incredible.
the earth-shattering direction we're going here?
That is nuts.
So
Markariah.
Yep. My mind is kind of blown for a couple reasons. One is I think this generation, we were talking about this before, but the systems are going in different directions.
Yeah.
And Xbox is investing in this Game Pass so heavily. So I think this is going to be the seller. Games don't necessarily sell the Xbox, but their Game Pass is.
Yes.
Their Game Pass is going to be the reason why you get an Xbox.
Yep.
Also, one thing that kind of slipped under the radar, which will be heavily spoken about in the future, is when they're talking about Destiny, they're like, oh, guys, also Destiny Mobile. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, you can stream Destiny 2 on your phone using the xCloud service.
Right.
Now, the xCloud is still in beta. It's just barely, the beta came to the iPhone. If you had Android, you could have participated in it before. But when that system, when that architecture is fully in place, imagine playing every Game Pass game on your phone, on your living room.
It's incredible.
Like, the games are just everywhere. The Game Pass is allowing you to play games everywhere.
Right.
It's taking the boundaries away from gaming. It's
the Stadia killer.
It's the Stadia killer. It's what Stadia wish it was. So
Yeah.
I give kudos to the Game Pass to that. I mean, we talked about Game Pass from our first episode. It's just such a good value, and they continue to add value to it every day. Like, when you thought 200 games was a lot,
There's
that's
4 more
a drop in the
that are
bucket.
coming out this week,
That's
right?
a drop in the bucket. By next year there'll probably be 400. By 5 years they'll probably, like, who knows? But it's just the value that it has for such a low monthly cost is just amazing.
Right. And so, like, looking at the Game Pass, you take it for like face value. It's like, a couple of games that you have access to. And before, even looking at it, with me dabbling in it, within the last month or whatever, and seeing what they had, it's not a whole lot of options, but there are some. Some games that you might not have ever come across or decided to play, and you have those options to play.
There's a
and you
ton
paid,
of games to choose
$15, to be able to just check it out, just try it out. But the fact that, you have all of these Microsoft Studios games that are coming out, they're on that. So day one, they're on that. You don't have to pay for those titles.
Nothing.
Period. To have all of the extra ones that they're adding on there, all of these indie developers that they're putting on there, it's giving you so many options. And then for you to slap the whipped cream on top and add xCloud to just include it with the Game Pass is just mind-blowing, because that sounds like something that should be an extra feature that you'd have to pay for. But it's like, no, you get all of these games, and then
for the
you
one
get
price.
and you get multiple ways to enjoy them. The fact that, you just announced 20 games, and I can decide, I can actually like go and play them and determine if I want to even invest my time into them or not. I don't have to pay $60. I don't have to pay $70. I don't have to play like some weak demo. Like I can literally try the game from beginning and then keep playing it if I want to.
Yeah.
And when I sit there and I look at Game Pass and I try to compare it to what the PlayStation has with the PS Now, you know what I mean? The PS Now is some like retro
sucks.
type of, it's some retro type of incentive to give them like the
like
the option for backwards
games.
compatibility.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's horrible.
It's
It
horrible.
just does it horrible. So it's not worth its subscription that they try to charge you for by
Right.
itself. And it definitely does not add up to the current competitor, which is Game Pass.
No way,
Or,
not even
you know,
close.
so
For me, this is a pivotal moment in gaming history. It's a turn, right? We're
Right.
making a turn. It's like going from DVDs to Netflix. Right? When Netflix changed the way we consume entertainment, putting everything online, all at your fingertips, that's what Game Pass is. We're not exaggerating when we say all these AAA games are all on there for you to download in their entirety and play them with no strings attached, apart from a $10 subscription service.
Yeah.
$15 gets you across both Xbox
Ultimate
and
and all
PC,
that, yeah.
right? But all you need to do is spend $10 a month. So for $120, how many games do you play in a whole year? A whole year.
Mm-hmm.
For $120. You're going to play a lot of games
Yeah,
for
you're
that
playing-
$120.
You're playing exclusives. Like that's the reason why
Yes.
we buy these
You're-
systems, right? Is specifically for the exclusives. That's the reason why you would choose a PlayStation or choose an Xbox. And to have all of these
Right.
exclusives right here.
And all these wonderful indies and all these old classics, like all the
Right.
fables. There's like 100 and something. It's incredible. When I first saw Game Pass, you've talked about this before, but when I first saw it, I was like, there's a gimmick here.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? Is it like a timed? I don't have like a few hours to play. It just lets me play for a few hours. Like, what's the gimmick here? No, there's no gimmick. Here it is.
The gimmick is, do you
The
got
second
space?
Halo Infinite drops, when I'll be paying $70 for a PlayStation game, I'm gonna get it right now, day one, for $10 subscription service.
Right.
I can't even believe it. I'm blown away by it. And I was telling Markariah this last night, because of this, for one, as bad as the showcase was, this one factor makes it entirely worth it, to the point in which I'm actually considering making Xbox my number one console that I play most of my games on, and using my PlayStation just for their exclusives. Because
Right.
normally when I buy a new game, I always buy it on PlayStation if it's multi-plat. But I think I might switch and start using Xbox and game exclusively digitally.
And the only way that would change is depending on, you know, the third party games that do come out, and maybe whether they looked better on one system or the other, you know, or,
Right.
but
they're
I mean,
going to
if
look
they
the
were
best
to-
on Xbox.
Right. So I mean, if
Yeah.
Or
if
close
you
to it.
if you're dropping some of these third parties onto Game Pass as well, like if they start getting things like, it'll probably won't happen, but if you were to get like 2K21 or 2K22
Right.
onto Game Pass, or you know, Madden 21 on the Game Pass, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's gonna pull a lot of people over there. It's just gonna be nuts. So I'm interested, you know, besides being excited about all of the options that they'll have for first party, their titles, their Microsoft Studios being on there. I'm interested to see how many studios they can convince to join the bandwagon and hop into this Game Pass market also.
For $10 a month, you, the listener, can become a gamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to say, me, over my course of my whole gaming history, I was always biased towards the games I played. I never played a lot of these great story games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we talk about, I say, hey, I played it on PC. Hey, you know, I mainly played the MMO games, the first-person shooter games, and the RTS games. Now, when I got Game Pass, I was able to just download whatever I wanted when I wanted. I downloaded at the time, you know, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and I was late to that party, and I was playing that. I was like, oh my god, this game is incredible. How did I miss this game? I was playing, you know, EverQuest, World of Warcraft. This game, I would say, if you're just playing by yourself, it scratches that itch that I had playing, EverQuest or World of
Yeah.
Warcraft. I was like, how did I miss these games? Games like the what's it, Untitled Goose.
Yeah, that's
like
on there,
there's
yeah.
just weird games that I saw. Like, let me
There's
download
lots
it.
of acclaimed games on the Game Pass.
There's just games you get to explore and find what kind of games you like. And I feel like Game Pass even adds more value because I'm a PC gamer. So now my PC, I have
hundreds of games
I
there
have
too.
hundreds more games to play on my PC. So I think it attracts those people like me, or those people who are PC master race. They don't care. They don't want an Xbox, but they want the Game Pass because now they have 100 games to play.
I don't know how this is not being screamed from the rooftops. I don't get it. I think Microsoft is absolutely dropping the ball here. This is the most revolutionary thing that's ever come to gaming, and none of us are talking about it. We're still talking about paying $70 for games,
Right.
and Microsoft is changing the game, and
They're
no
saying
one's
you
talking
don't have
about
to
it.
pay.
Yeah, they're
You don't
saying
have
you
to pay
don't have to
anything for
pay.
this.
I
Yeah.
know what is going on
Yeah.
with the marketing here.
And I think that the marketing is right around the corner. Here's a little
Okay.
speculation, but you can no longer buy Xbox Live Gold in more than 1 or 3 month increment.
Right.
So the speculation and the rumor is that Xbox Live Gold, everyone's going to be able to play online for free, right? So I feel like in conjunction with the release of the Xbox Series X, they're going to put a huge emphasis on, hey guys, come to our platform, play games online for free.
Right.
And also, if you have Game Pass, play hundreds of games when you want, how you want it, on your phone, on your PC, on your console. I think right now they couldn't do it because they're still making money on live. They're still making money on these different channels.
Right.
But once the new next gen drops, I feel like that's when it's going to be the shift. Like, hey,
Drop the hammer on it
we're
all.
pushing Game Pass 100%. When we sell box games, we don't make that much money. But when we sell Game Pass, we make all the money. So I feel like that's going to be the pivotal moment when everyone, it's going to be the PS5 versus Game Pass. That's
Exactly.
that's when it's going to come.
Exactly.
So-
PlayStation's going the traditional route, making games. Xbox is going in a completely different direction, giving you games.
Yeah.
Right. So,
You decide.
with that being said, right, they tried to, kind of cap off this week, right, of Xbox information by giving us access to this Xbox Games Fest.
Yeah.
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 It was pretty hard to find the majority of the demos that
Yes.
they were supposed to be giving us.
I couldn't
this
even
short
find
window
them
of showcasing.
when I first went to look for them. I couldn't find them.
Right.
You had to dig through the store.
So, we did manage to find some. We got together as a crew and decided to check out some of the games that kind of interested us and, that were kind of highly rated. So I wanted to start off with you, Markariah. What was like the main game that you were kind of surprised about?
So the game that I was completely surprised by was called Dandy Ace.
Okay.
So I downloaded this game because there was a magician holding a card. I like Yu-Gi-Oh! And I like magic tricks. So that's the sole reason why I downloaded this game, just
Alright.
based on looks. I had no
No clue of what it was.
Nothing. I didn't hear nothing about it. The studio, I never heard of this game studio that made it.
There was no talk about it.
I never heard one thing about
Right.
Dandy Ace. And honestly, it looked kind of funky. Like, I just downloaded it.
Right.
Because there were 71 games. Let's just download whatever I want. So this game surprised me 100%. It's a roguelike meets Diablo style game. And I loved it. I played the demo. Out of all the demos, I played this one the most. I wanted more.
Okay.
And I'm very hyped about this game. What about Sirknight? What was the game that surprised you?
The game that surprised me was Raji and Ancient Epic.
Oh, yeah.
I know there was a little bit of talk about this one, but I was not expecting much going into this, and I fired it up, and it has a really unique way of telling the story. It uses like puppets. The combat was super fun. You're given this really sweet spear. It's able to do all these really flashy. They're very flashy and bright, powerful attacks. They're very weighty. There's some platforming involved. It was really fun. The combat was a lot of fun, hacking and slashing these demons down. And you had like these really, really cool abilities like combos. Like you do like these three, smash the ground, and then you would fling this lightning bolt at a demon. It was a lot of fun. I would recommend it and would definitely be something that I try on Game Pass.
Right. And for me, the game that caught me off guard the most was Scourgebringer.
Yes.
I didn't
was
know
dope.
exactly what to expect on this one, but going into it, it's kind of like it feels like it could be a little bit of Metroidvania type stuff going on, and you have the different moves, like heavy attacks, regular attacks, but it was kind of fun because you could pretty much float in the air with consistent combat like the whole time, you know what I mean? And then you get done with one enemy, you could do a jump and then a dash over to another enemy and just start pummeling that one.
It had like that 8-bit graphics and like Dead Cells kind of, you collect items every run, it's different.
Right. So it was interesting in that sense. And so, with that being said, I'm definitely going to keep my eye out on that one and make sure that I get that one for the Game Pass. If that's on there. I'm not sure if it is on there, but if it is on there, I'm definitely going to get that one.
Yeah.
And so with, being surprised comes one that you were disappointed with. Yeah. Right. So, Markariah.
So I'll jump in. Skatebird. I was hoping for a cute little bird means Tony Hawk, and what I got was Goat Simulator
with Tony Hawk
with a tech deck.
With a tech.
That's what I got. So it's an alpha. So there's still a lot of work to be done. I like the little bird. It was cute looking. I like the animal. Yeah, I was in somebody's room doing tricks. It just didn't feel good. It was so clunky. It was very hard. It wasn't fun, but it looked fun. So I'll give him that.
The one that disappointed me was there was one game that everyone was talking about. It was called Crystals. And I really liked it. It had an anime style art type, so I was like super excited. Oh, this is gonna be a cool RPG. It's turn based. It's all the hype was around it. So it was one of the first games I downloaded on Game Fest. I fired it up. The combat was okay, and then it stopped, and it put you in like this garden, and you're trying to catch a frog with the flower, and it was the most dull, boring experience I had almost the whole night.
Sounds excruciating.
And it disappointed me, absolutely. So don't play Crystals unless it's an alpha and it gets better. I don't know, but it failed. Disappointed.
Right, yeah. For me, man, it was Haven. I was looking at that and I was like, okay, this artwork is beautiful. It looks like it'll be kind of cool. You're kind of flying around like a Super Saiyan. You have some charge up abilities or whatnot. And when I got into it, I was just kind of like, what the hell is going on? There's like streamlines that are on the floor that you have to try to follow. I could have cared less about the storyline of the two characters. And then the constant mini cutscenes where they pop up as like 2D drawings or whatever
and loading
on the screen.
Times.
The loading times were atrocious, like for every little thing. They had like little wave paths or whatever that you could flow onto like other islands, I guess. I don't know what was going on there, but load times between each of them, so it was just bad. It's definitely something that thank God for a demo, because if I had paid any money for this, I'd have been trying to get it back. I'd have been like, nah, man, this was a mistake. My kid bought this, dude. Like, I did not get this. This was not me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this was one that we failed at. We just totally misread it.
Yeah.
But then we have the last category of our Game Fest night is a game we thought would be good and ended up being good. Mark, what'd you think?
So one for me, I saw when I was browsing the store, there's a game called Freshly Frosted. Had a nice looking donut. So guys, I'm not taking this category too seriously, but I saw a nice donut and I read the description. Oh, you're in a donut factory and you're trying to make donuts. Puzzle game. Puzzles, donuts, factory. Sounded great. And to my surprise, it was great. It was fun. Me and Marcus were playing this game. It has a lot of cool little mechanics when you're progressing. Introduces cool little features to spice it up. Says it has over 144 levels. So there's a lot of content there. So this was a fun one.
And I'd have to add in on that one. The best thing about it was that you could fast forward on it. So you didn't have to wait for the puzzle.
That's nice.
It's because it reminded me of like the Pipes puzzle game, where you have like the water coming from one entrance and then you have to piece it to get it to the out pipe. And normally you'd have to wait to watch the water flow through the pipes and then go out. But this one, you just click the fast forward trigger and then it would just speed through it all. So you knew you beat it. You move on.
And one thing with the music and the visuals of the conveyor belts, there's donuts on conveyor. It was kind of relaxing. I don't know why.
It was a chill game.
It was chill.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
So what about you? Sirknight?
The one that was good for me that I figured would be good was the 9 Monkeys of Shaolin. It had a good little art style. It was a 3D side scroller, like Fist of Fury. You could jump in with some friends, couch co-op,
right?
And you're just going across the stream like old school X-Men. Beating up the guys you come across. But you had a lot of cool little abilities and techniques. You can parry the attacks. You can throw stuff back at them. You could dodge. You can jump at them. So it was a lot more intensive combat than like X-Men was. But it's that whole traditional side scroller, and it was fully 3D. I had a lot of fun with nine Shaolin Monkeys, so I would recommend that one for sure.
Yeah, I like that one as well. For me, I was excited to see Destroy All Humans coming out again.
Yeah.
A remake from the old school classic that was on, I think, the original Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it was on the original Xbox. So, I had great fun with it before when it first came out, and seeing it again, it looked like the same exact thing, just better graphics. So I was excited about that. I mean, it's cool. If it's on Game Pass, I'll definitely be playing it again.
For sure.
That's not really one of those games that I would go ahead and rebuy again just because it got dolled up. But definitely, if I had access to it, I would definitely play it again.
For sure.
So that was one of those things. But so that's it for this long chunk of Xbox showcase, event. Week extravaganza, bonanza. So I'm Godly Sovereign. This is Markariah, and that is Sirknight. We are the We Love Gaming podcast. We appreciate you guys watching, listening,
commenting.
Definitely comment, subscribe on YouTube. We have our website, welovegaming.org. And we have Discord as well. You can catch all of us on Twitter, Instagram. We're even on Twitch. Constantly streaming. We stream for the most parts. I believe we all stream on Fridays, Saturdays, and a little bit of Sundays. Maybe in the morning or whatnot. Do you guys have anything else to add? Anything that I'm forgetting?
No, just remember, please comment, rate, subscribe our videos. We really would appreciate that. If you would toss us a subscription, you get clips. If you want just clips, you get we'll have some reviews and stuff that you don't get on the normal podcast. So check out the YouTube channel.
And if you guys had any games that you thought were surprising that you weren't looking out for, that kind of just caught you off guard, put those down in the comments so we can check them out later on, maybe watch some reveal trailers or whatnot. Also, if you guys had a game that you were excited for and it was just straight trash, like Haven or any of the other ones that we mentioned,
let us know.
Drop that in there.
And if you want to reach out to us for any reason, our email is wlg@welovegaming.org. So feel free to send us an email, and we're happy to talk to you.
So once again, guys, we appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you next week.
Peace.
See you.
I love you.
right. So
The
enough
coup
of
de
all that
grace
other
here.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that was just like the opening little crap, like Halo Infinite. Who could care less about Halo Infinite?
Wow.
All these other games,
Man, that's great.
they're nothing, right? They mean nothing when they stand at the feet of Fable. All right, so I've been saying this for the longest, right? I want to see Fable. Fable needs to come out. That's what they need to bring to their system to get me to buy it. And gosh darn it, they did it.
They did it.
They freaking revealed it, man.
We've been talking about Fable like every week.
Every freaking episode, dang near, right?
Gets
so,
mentioned.
I mean, they start off with the little Twitter ads, people are investigating it real quick, and then they're finding out like, they I think signed like a declaration of producing something on the IP. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just holding it; it was like an intent to sell something using that IP. So then it's like, whoo, you know what I mean? And then we get a little clip footage. Now, yes, we just received trailer.
A teaser.
That was it.
Tease.
A quick little thing, some narration, a frog eating a fairy. That's it. That's all we saw. But I'll be damned if that didn't sell me. All right? Day one, I'm getting a freaking Xbox.
Yeah.
Just to wait for this thing.
Yep.
I pray that they have this freaking thing ready on launch, but I know it's not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this is like first quarter type of thing on the the top of 2021. You know what I mean? So the differences about this, right, already is that Peter Molyneux, I believe, does not have anything to do with this game, right? This is not a Lionhead Studio produced game. Lionhead Studio has been nixed. They are out. So we have this company that's called Underground or Playground. Okay. So I know nothing about Playground. Maybe if you guys had any information, you could fill me in. But as far as I'm concerned, I've never heard of Playground. So I'm interested to see what they decide to keep and what they take away from this world. All of the other previous Fables have always had like this British appeal to them. So they spoke with a British accent and everything, So the gameplay was always fun for me. Graphics were what they were at that time. So I always enjoyed that. But it was more so of your good and evil scale that you could play with and the different legendary items that were out there that you could grab a hold of or be a part of, in this world.
Yeah.
And then, your progression from the decisions that you made, showing your outlook, right? So the only thing that I could compare to that degree is, what is it? Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Right? That was my shiz dizzle because you could literally go to the dark side and you just slowly saw as you progressed to a villain, you could see
change.
Yeah, all of your physical changes and different things, growing demon horns and things like that, And it was the same way with Fable, and I just fell in love with that world. And every time I played a Fable 1, 2, and 3, I always wanted more. That's how I always ended the game, is wanting more. I felt like it was one of those games that was just too damn short. And I didn't understand it, and there's some people that like short games.
Yeah.
But, I just always wanted it to be more because I just wanted to be in that world more.
Yeah.
So needless to say,
your dream
as
came
soon as
true.
the freaking, the game gods have answered my call. And, Fable is going to be released. As soon as I find out the date, I will be letting you guys know repeatedly. I'm definitely pre-ordering as soon as pre-orders are available, even if the thing is on Game Pass, because I'm just going to want a physical copy for myself.
Yeah.
So that's how pumped I am about it. And honestly, I might just because they want to play with me, I might just hold off on getting an Xbox until the damn game is coming out.
Okay.
And then it's like I buy them both together at the same time.
All right.
Probably not, but I might like buy the digital version or something. I don't know. I don't know what I'll do.
Right.
But, yeah, it's freaking Fable, man.
Miracles really do.
Freaking
Wow.
Fable.
Miracles really do happen.